Good afternoon, everyone. We will begin our seminar, session 2, in about a few minutes. But before starting seminar 2, session 2, we will take another group photo. So just remain seated in the meantime, please. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Before we begin session 2, we will take, like I said, another group photo from your seat. So please remain seated. All right, everyone. Before beginning session 2, let's take another group photo. You don't have to stand or move. We are going to take group photo from your seats. 네. Neutral photo. Wave your hands, smile. Make your heart. Thank you. Now, I'd like to invite the session moderators and presenters to the stage. Please come forward.
Hello, everyone. I am Il-pyo Hong, Director General of the Society and the Culture Office of the National Assembly Research Service, Korea. And I'll be moderating today's second session, legislative and policy trends responding to the climate crisis. Responding to the climate, before responding to the climate crisis, we have to overcome the afternoon drowsiness and the jet lag. If you don't, sometimes we play like this. While this morning's topic, the role of Parliament in reducing inequality, was also extremely important and a challenge requiring global collective effort. The climate crisis response we will now address is, as you all well know, an agenda that demands not only individual national efforts, but also crucial cooperation and solidarity among nations. Therefore, international seminars on this topic have likely been held numerous times already, and the plans and actions of governments and international organizations are also being confirmed at a very concrete level. However, I believe it is quite rare to have a gathering like this where we can discuss what deliberation and efforts national parliaments are making to respond to climate crisis. In that sense, I hope this afternoon session will help foster a rich and accurate understanding of each country's situation, and furthermore, become a place where solidarity and cooperation for climate crisis response are newly explored. First, I will explain how this session will be conducted. Given the importance and the severity of the issue, we have presentations from as many as 10 countries. 10 countries. So we have we plan to take a 10-minute coffee break midway. Don't worry about 10 consecutive presentation. The first part, presentation from 5 countries, Kyrgyzstan, and the Czech Republic, and Thailand, and Pakistan, and Nepal. We'll each give a 10-minute presentation, just 10 minutes, followed by about 10 minutes Q&A session, as you know. Following a 15-minute coffee break, the second part will feature presentation by Cambodia, India, European Parliament, China, and the Republic of Korea. Each lasting 10 minutes as well, followed by a 10 minutes Q&A session. And the priority for Q&A will be given to speakers within each part. But we would appreciate questions from participants, from audience, in other parts, and the audiences in the floor as well. If 10 minutes remain at the end, as I planned, I will hold a comprehensive Q&A and discussion session. But I'm not sure we can have a 10 minutes comprehensive Q&A session. Understood? Okay? Yeah. Because of a time limit, I have to show some signals when you are during presentation. Our staff will show 2 minutes left. Yeah, and you have to watch her from time to time when you present. Don't be focused, just focus your presentation. Look around all audiences, and especially to her. Due to time constraints, there will be no separate summarized by the moderator for each presentation. Now, let me introduce presenters from 5 countries. From Kyrgyz Republic, Aizan Zhakhsilikovi. Warm applause. And Czech Republic, Eva Balunova. From Thailand, Siripsanok Kumprast. Okay. And Pakistan, Nigat Paristan. And Nepal, Srakumadura, and Nimela Devi Lamichain. Okay. So let's begin with the presentation from Kyrgyzstan. Please give her a warm round of applause again. 10 minutes.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to participate in this international seminar. I express my deep appreciation and gratitude to the organizers of NARS for holding such a useful and interesting event. This seminar offers an opportunity for networking among parliamentary research services. My presentation is a bit long. I will try to cover the main points. This theme is important for me, and let me show you my presentation. Kyrgyzstan is a landlocked country in Central Asia, bordered with China, east, Kazakhstan, north, Uzbekistan, west, Tajikistan, south, lying in the Tian Shan and Pamir mountain ranges. The highest peak is Victor Peak. Climate conditions, continental climate, hot summers, cold winters, average January temperature from -2 degrees Celsius to -8 degrees Celsius, and other. Nature and landscapes. Next. Please, nature and landscape, diverse terrain, plains, steppes, forests, alpine meadows. Main lake, Seoul, is one of the largest mountain lakes in the world. Main river, Naryn, rich by diversity. Snow leopard, Marco Polo sheep, Tian Shan spruce. Next, please. Climate change processes in the Kyrgyz Republic. High vulnerability. Kyrgyzstan is recognized as a country with a high climate vulnerability, particularly in the water, agriculture, and energy sectors. Since 1960, the rate of temperature increase in the region has been 0.38 degrees Celsius decade, a rate significantly higher than the global average. This accelerating trend has a profound implication for all aspects of the environment and human activity. Increasing temperature and deglaciation. Key priorities for climate resilience. Glacier conservation. Next priorities, rational water resource management and sustainable agriculture development. Next, national priorities for a climate resilient future. Kyrgyzstan is actively pursuing several national initiatives to build resilience and transition toward a sustainable, low-carbon economy. On September 20, 2025, Kyrgyzstan officially adopted its third nationally determined contribution, NDC 3.0. The document outlines the country's contribution to global efforts to meet climate commitments under the Paris Agreement for the period 2006 and 2035. And next, national priorities, updating of the National Adaptation Plan, NEP. And next, priorities, implementation of a green economy. International commitments, a global partnership. Kyrgyzstan ratified the Paris Agreement by law of the Kyrgyz Republic in the 2020 year. Kyrgyzstan actively seeks partnership with international climate funds, green Climate Fund, Adoption Fund, and other. Key documents driving climate action. Law on atmospheric air protection, law on environmental protection, law on environmental expertise, and concept of environmental security of Kyrgyz Republic, and the Green Economy Development Program. Next, necessary reforms for enhanced climate action. Adoption of the draft law on climate action. Development of the methodologies for assessing climate change damage. Development of a reliable MRV system. Next, ambitious targets. Kyrgyzstan's updated nationally determined contributions, NDC. The chart illustrates Kyrgyzstan's dual approach to emission reduction targets. Unconditional reduction. The country commits to reducing its emissions by up to 60.63% by 2025 and up to 20% by 2013 using its own resources. These targets reflect the nation's domestic efforts and capabilities. Next, key sectors for emission reduction. These reduction targets will be achieved through concerted efforts across several key economic sectors: energy and agriculture, and forestry land use. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Ayzhan Slikhova. We heard her presentation on Kyrgyzstan's climate policy. The title was Legislative Initiatives and the Political Challenges. It was very important and useful information and ideas. Thank you for your presentation. And next, Eva Balunova from Czech Republic. Okay.
So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Eva Balunova, and I work in the Parliamentary Institute of the Parliament of the Czech Republic. And it's a great honor for me to be here today. So I would like to thank again the organizers. And the topic of my presentation is legislative responses to the climate crisis in the Czech Parliament. Here on the first slide, you could see a brief overview of Czechia and climate crisis. In the Czech Republic, we have witnessed a significant drop in greenhouse gas emissions after 1989, which was due to the economic restructuring. However, we face challenges. There are ongoing challenges. Especially energy-intensive sectors, especially coal-based power, still dominate. And Czech Republic has high CO2 emissions per capita. And we could already see impacts of climate crisis in Czech Republic. Droughts, floods, heat waves, especially in Prague, heat waves are a big problem and the city is not ready for that. However, I would like to mention that the public support for climate measures in the Czech Republic is lower than in other EU member states. And in the beginning of October of this month, we have held general elections in Czech Republic, and I would say that the results show that this is the case. Climate legislation in Czech Republic. So Czech Republic is naturally party to major climate agreements like UNFCCC, Kyoto Protocol, and the Paris Agreement, and we are also member state of the European Union. So on the national level, of course, we have to implement the EU law, including planning, but we have no national climate act, some framework act that would lay down some principles or national target. And I would say that this framework climate law is already quite common in other European countries, especially in Western Europe. So when it comes to national law documents on climate, we have mainly soft law documents like climate protection policy, which are not really updated. The current climate protection policy is from 2017, and we have also some soft law on adaptation. However, we have seen some legislative and other efforts. There was a coal commission in the Czech Republic, and the coal phase-out is currently planned by 2033. And we have also seen significant improvements in the support for renewables. We have also seen draft climate law. It was proposed in the parliament, but it was not agreed on. And we have several parliamentary committees and subcommittees, for example, on just transition. And I would like to mention that climate litigation is also an issue, a phenomenon in Czech Republic. We have several cases. Some of them are connected to planning and permitting. So for example, we had a case regarding the Prague airport expansion, or we have some cases regarding solar panels and the monumental protection, like collision of them. And we have also a strategic climate litigation against the government and 4 ministries, which is currently pending in front of the Constitutional Court. And now I will talk about the research service and climate issues in Czech Republic. So the research service is provided by the Parliamentary Institute, which provides research service for both chambers of the parliament. We have about 30 employees, out of which maybe 10 are lawyers, and we have 4 departments. I work in the Department of EU Affairs, and I would say that the climate issues are especially discussed in the EU committee in the parliament. And what do we do? So regarding international climate law, we especially prepare briefings and up-to-date analysis. For example, I prepared in 2015 an analysis of the Paris Agreement, or we also analyze COP outcomes. For example, I analyzed the COP outcome from the Glasgow COP. Regarding EU climate legislation, I would say this is the cornerstone of our work. We monitor the agenda. There is one Czech person in Brussels who monitors the agenda there. And we especially analyze selected documents, mainly proposals proposed by the European Commission, but also other documents like communications. So we prepared analysis of the EU Green Deal communication, of the proposals which were part of the Fit for 55 proposal. Also this year we analyzed the omnibus proposals. We also do comparative legal studies. So for example, we prepared a comparative legal study on climate councils and how they work in different countries. And we also do general issues like, for example, trainings for MPs. Now when the new start of at the start of a new parliamentary term, we are preparing trainings, seminars for the new MPs, some papers summarizing the EU agenda in different fields, etc. And on this slide, you could also see the design of our papers, and when the new parliamentary term is starting, we are again discussing the design of our papers, so I am getting inspired here as well. So I would like to thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you, Eva. Thank you. Oh, we have 10 minutes. You don't be hurry. Yeah, yeah, enough time. 10 minutes is enough time. So you can use your 10 minutes for your presentation. Yeah, next. You have this one, and from Thailand. Sorry, Siripichanok Kumprast. Sorry, thank you.
안녕하세요. สวัสดีค่ะ And good afternoon, everyone. My name is Siri Pishanokun Prasad, and I am a legal officer from the Bureau of Academic Services, which is part of the House of Representatives of Thailand. Today, I would like to take this opportunity to present Thailand's response to climate change. My presentation will cover Thailand's commitment and goals, its strategic framework and action plans, progress in legislation and policies, and finally, the country's next steps. The climate crisis is one of the greatest challenges facing humanity, affecting the environment and many other aspects of life worldwide. Therefore, global cooperation is essential to mitigate its impact. Let's look more closely at Thailand's situations. According to German Watch Global Climate Risk Index 2021, between 2000 and 2019, Thailand was the 9th most affected country in the world. We continue to face serious challenges such as extreme heat waves, prolonged droughts, and major floods, all of which affect communities nationwide. However, there has been notable improvement in the Climate Risk Index 2025, covering 1993 to 2022. Thailand ranking improved to 38th place, reflecting a decrease in relative climate risk compared to other nations. Nevertheless, challenges remain. What? Back. Okay. Oh, sorry. Recognizing this, Thailand has shown continuous commitment to addressing climate issues both domestically and internationally. On the global stage, Thailand has joined and ratified the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, followed by the Kyoto Protocol and the Paris Agreement. We are also actively working to achieve the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. To respond effectively to this crisis, Thailand has set two clear national goals: carbon neutrality by 2050 and net zero greenhouse gas emission by 2065. To achieve this goal, Thailand operates within a structured policy framework consisting of three main levels. Level 1, the National Strategic Plan, a long-term vision for Thailand to become a developed, stable, prosperous, and sustainable nation. Level 2, the 30 National Economic and Social Development Plan spanning from 2023 to 2027, a 5-year plan focused on sustainable, environmentally friendly economic and social growth. Finally, Level 3, several action plans, including the Master Plan on Climate Change, the Greenhouse Gas Reduction Action Plan, and the Nation Adaptation Plan to Climate Change. Additionally, the government has adopted the BCG economic model, which integrates the bioeconomy, circular economy, and green economy as a key driver of sustainable development. In terms of legal progress, the government, parliament, and civil society have worked together to promote key environmental bills, ensuring that climate change management aligns with national targets and international commitment. Some key examples include: 1, Draft Climate Change Act. The government is preparing to submit the Draft Climate Change Act for parliamentary considerations. This act aims to guide Thailand's transition towards a low-carbon economy and society and achieve net zero emissions. It establishes framework for carbon taxation, a greenhouse gas trading system, and a climate change fund. In addition, Several members of parliament have introduced similar draft bill for considerations. And number 2, Draft Clean Air Act. The House of Representatives is currently reviewing the draft act on the management of clean air. This act consolidates knowledge and ideas from 7 earlier drafts proposed by the cabinet, members of parliament, and the public. Its shared objective is to ensure clean and safe air for every Thai citizen. It also emphasizes public participation, science-based management, and control of both domestic and transboundary air pollution. Within the parliament itself, a significant initiative known as the Clean Parliament Project has been launched, aiming to make the Thai parliament a model organization for achieving net zero greenhouse gas emissions. To support this, the President of Parliament established a committee to lead the project. The committee has created the Green Parliament Master Plan 2025 to 2032 and a 3-year action plan that sets out policy on energy management, resource efficiency, and awareness raising among all personnel. To reaffirm this commitment, on 4th September 2025, the Speaker of the House of Representatives signed a letter of intent with 35 standing committees and the United Nations Development Programme, pledging to turn this plan into tangible results. Climate change and environmental challenges are complex and cross-border in nature, requiring collaboration among multiple sectors. The Thai Parliament demonstrates ongoing dedication through its legislation function by promoting environmental policy and laws consistent with the SDGs and international obligations, supporting environmental investment through the budget system, and advancing environmental democracy through legal processes and public participation. As the Academic Support Unit of Parliament, my colleagues and I at the Bureau of Academic Service provide research analysis and relevant information to help members of parliament make informed decisions. Our goal is to strengthen legal mechanisms that promote a more sustainable and equitable future. Thank you very much for listening to my presentation. If you have any questions or would like to further more information, please feel free to contact me at parliament.groupt@gmail.com. Thank you.
Thank you, Siripitsanok Compressat. Yes. We heard the 3 presentations from Kyrgyzstan, Czech Republic, and Thailand. The first presenter is from Pakistan, Nigat Paristan. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. It's my presentation. Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I am Nigat Paristan, representing the Research Department of National Assembly of Pakistan. First of all, I want to say thank you to NARS for providing us this opportunity to the research fraternity to sit together. And as we heard in the welcome speech of Mr. Kwan Lee, that debate, dialogue, and deliberation and persistence that we show for solving the problems and showing up is very important. So thank you so much, NARS, once again. And my research department is provide research analysis and policy analysis to the parliamentarians. And today I will be presenting my presentation on the legislative and political trend responding to the crisis in Pakistan. My presentation is basically a policy deep dive into the evolving climate governance landscape of a highly vulnerable nation. As you all know that despite contributing less than 1% of global emission greenhouse gas emission, Pakistan is consistently in the third most vulnerable nation. We are rather at the back end of facing the catastrophes and the calamities which are hitting Pakistan on rather accelerated paces. So we are facing extreme weather, recurrence of rainfalls, and heat waves. Due to that, in 2022, there was a huge flood in Pakistan, which affected almost 3 million people, and which hit our economy with $30 billion loss, which for any developing nation is a big hit. Again, in 2025, once again, we were hit by the monsoon intensified rainfall, and once again, we suffer human losses and loss to the infrastructure. Apart from that, as there was harif, and our wheat crops are badly hit. So what we are facing in the coming time is a food shortage, also due to the climate crisis. Now I will talk about the evolution of climate legislation from adaptation to mitigation, that how the parliament and the political leader of Pakistan address the issue. So basically, our first legislative response to this heavily concentrated on measure to protect the population and infrastructure was 2012 National Policy on Climate Change, which later on was updated in 2021, and then again, and now in 2025. So Pakistan, this trajectory reflects that we move from adaptation to mitigation, and then and our political leadership is actually are responding to a proactive sector-wide integration to economy, to our different economic sectors. What came as a watershed moment in our legislative history was actually the passage of the Climate Change Act in 2017. It was, I would rather say that it was our first legislative, impactful legislation in which the Act addresses for establishing institutions like Climate Change Council and Climate Change Authority for mainstreaming the climate change concern to be integrated into national and provincial development planning, ensuring that all major economic infrastructure projects consider climate resilience. Then again, it was actually the result of that act that Pakistan introduced National Electronic Vehicle Policy, National Water Policy, and National Forest Policy. And what I want is the topic of my presentation shows that actually it was government response to this climate change that we put the nation, and of course, it was addressing the putting the nation and the things on a right track that it was actually a legislative evolutionary, it's a legislative evolution of the country, I would rather say. Then what happened with the passage of time, that the political discourse starting considering climate change as an issue which needs to be debated and which need to be discussed. So all the major political parties starting aiding climate change into their party manifestos. So in the previous election, all the political parties during the discussion and for their voting campaign actually shows their concerns about climate change and what their actions will be to how to tackle the catastrophe. And then again, social advocacy for this government institution with NGOs and INGOs cooperated, and they are actually defining a national discourse to tackle climate change crisis. I would rather talk about Parliament's capacity or a Parliament capacity building to face or to tackle the climate crisis. We have a standing committee of climate change for which research services of Pakistan have provided an expert who rather assist the committee. Apart from that, whenever the committee deemed appropriate, they referred to our documents or policy analysis or decoding the government assistance which they provide. So apart from the Standing Committee on Climate Change, we have SDG Secretariat in the Parliament, which again are tackling the Goal 13 on climate action. It's a focused group, the SDG of parliamentarians who have expertise and who have knowledge of the relevant areas where they delve into deep policy discussion and deliberation. We have SDG Secretariat, and then again the Senate of Pakistan, which is the upper house of the Parliament of Pakistan. They rather have a task force as well. Now I will come to the climate governance issue which Pakistan is facing. I saw 2 minutes. So political instability in our case, in my case, in Pakistan's case, political instability and financial incapacity, and then again we have post-devolution at the result of our 18th Amendment, the climate change subject was transferred to the provinces. So then again, there is a lack of coordination between the provinces and the center on the issue. So this is, and climate justice concern for women and small farmers. This again, a big issue, and what I would rather, I rather missed one thing to add, and that is data gap. Data gap on climate and weather data is missing, and I think that in the communication which we got from NARS about establishing a consultative body, so I think the climate change is the issue which this body will be addressing by exchanging data and experience and information with each other. And then, well, the last, I would rather come to my last, the climate justice. On global scene, Pakistan is advocating for climate diplomacy, in which Pakistan was fortunate enough to get this damage and loss fund. And in the end, as I've told earlier, that research services provide legislative analysis and assistance for policy deliberation. I think it's the path forward for international cooperation in the field of climate finance, global technology transfer, renewable energy transition, and SDGs integration and monitoring. And I want to end this on the note that despair is useless. What keeps us going ultimately is our love for each other and our refusal to bow our heads to accept the verdict. However all-powerful it seems, it's what ordinary people have to do. You have to love each other, you have to defend each other, and you have to fight, and we all have to fight, I think, in the end. So that's why we are here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nigat Paristan. She is the only one presenter who spent 10 minutes fully. Yeah, thank you. The last presentation for the second session, the first part of the second session is from Nepal. Sura Kumar Dura and Nimala Devi Lamiching.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good afternoon. Respected all of you, 안녕하세요. And thank you very much, organizer NARS. It means 감사합니다. I am Suraj Kumar Dura, Secretary of the Federal Parliament of Nepal. Climate risk and the role of Parliament in Nepal. I have 9 points of presentations. First of Nepal at a glance. Second, climate risk as a global issue. Causes of climate risk in Nepal. Consequences. Government initiations. Role of parliaments. Himalayan Hindu Kush meet. Way forward. And last, conclusion. Yes. Nepal is a landlocked country with a population of the 291,064,578. It is a Republican Federal Democratic State with 7 provinces, 77 districts, 4 metropolitan cities, and 13 sub-metropolitan cities, 293 municipalities, and 460 rural municipalities in Nepal. It is the only richest country in water resources. I think so. And rich in biodiversity, 29th position in the world in this time. Country with mixed economy, economic growth rate 3.87%, per capita income 1,400 per dollar, human asset index is 76.3%, disaster affected population 3.03%, Women Development Index 6.601, Gender Development Index 0.885. Climate crisis is the burning issue in contemporary world. It is the threat of our international peace and security. There is a lot of human casualties and physical loss due to the climate-led disaster. Earth is our common home, and global partnership is needed to the climate issue. Climate crisis is a political, economic, diplomatic agenda beyond the environment factor. Common but differential responsibility of the nation in must be climate justice. International cooperation and collaboration is the need for the addressing climate issue. Topographical diversity in Nepal, fragile geological situation, sensitive ecosystem we have, diversity of climate and microclimate zones, melting of snow and the slow lane of glacier, lack of the proper urbanization and migration is our most problem in this time. Disaster like flood, drought, and burst glacier, loss of biodiversity, problem of food security, imbalance in health system, loss of physical infrastructure, rising temperature, landslide, flood is our main problem. Adaptation problem, excessive rainfall, human casualties, burst and glacier can harm habitation, and loss in the physical and human factor. Government of Nepal has launched policies, acts, programs, and institutional framework to address climate risks, which are as follows: National Climate Change Policy 2019, Environmental Protection Act, Disaster Risk Authority, national and local level adaptation program. Provincial and local government have aligned disaster risk reduction in their annual plan. Nepal has the commitment of zero carbon by 2045. Focus on green economic and electrical vehicle, use of renewable energy. Media campaign for awareness on climate issues, meteorological information, adaptation captured our vulnerable group of the climate risk development, compensation strategy for them in applied. Actually, we have a lot of slides, so I speedily gone. That's why in this time, I would like to say our right honorable chairman in Geneva, there is a IPU 151 assembly was going on. Yesterday, he addressing the climate issue side, Nepal side. So we are now affected by climate issue. To be continued by my colleague Nirmala Devi Lamichhane. I hand over the mic over Nirmala Devi.
Distinguished colleagues, delegates, ladies and gentlemen, greeting on behalf of Nepal, the country of Mount Everest and Lord Buddha. First of all, I extend my sincere gratitude to the National Assembly Research Services for providing these ample opportunities to share our national scenario on climate crisis and role of parliamentarian in Nepal. Roles of parliamentarian in Nepal in climate issues. Parliament is the legislative body and supreme institution of people's representation. Lawmaking, oversight, and representation are the crucial roles of parliamentarian. Overseeing government in climate issues, resolution, questioning, and debate can hold government accountable. Ratification of international treaties can be done by parliament. Oversight of response mechanism of government on climate disaster is done by parliamentary committees. In assembly or house, people's concern on climate issues can be raised. Post-legislative scrutiny of concerned area can be done by parliament. Direction to the government or new laws and amendment of law, new policies and implementation mechanism of government can be given. Parliament to parliament cooperation, coordination and collaboration can be done. Experience sharing in regional and global forum on current issues of climate change may be the added benefit. Parliamentary research can be conducted for efficiency promotion of government and parliamentarian as well. Inter-parliamentary union, regional parliamentary forum, parliament friendship group can be the joint endeavor to cater climate issues. Disaster-led victims issues can be raised in-house and government attention can be drawn. Audit of prevailing law regarding climate issues can be conducted and recommendation can be given to the concerned ministry or government. Annual report of government can be analyzed and further direction can be given. There was the Hindu Kush parliamentary meet in our country, Nepal. Nepal hosted Hindu Kush parliamentary meet in August 2025. Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, Pakistan and Myanmar participated in meet. Shared challenge and advanced solution for resilient future to cater climate crisis was discussed there. 5 points call for attention was drawn in today's meet. Strengthening regional cooperation for climate change adaptation, clean air, biodiversity conservation, inclusive development, a dedicated parliamentarian forum for regional dialogue. Way forward. Climate adaptation, 1.5 degree temperature threshold, control in carbon emission, clean environment as a right, compensation for climate victim, international support for climate justice with common but differentiated responsibilities. Conclusion. Climate crisis is global and national issues. Cooperation, collaboration, and joint venture among national, transnational, and international government is must. Every nation must consider the legal liability for future generations regarding climate crisis. Clean and green energy with just economy is needed to cater climate crisis. National policies, plan, and action must align for climate justice. Regarding the Parliamentary Research Division, what our function is, I am going to describe what our contribution regarding the field of parliamentary research. Fact sheet publication, that means aggregated and disaggregated data regarding the economy, social factor, political factor, economic factor, etc. were compiled, and it was given to the parliamentarian so that evidence-based and fact-based presentation can be done there. Journal, parliamentary journal publication, including the many sectors like administration, law, parliament. We have published journal once a year. That is the reading materials for MPs. Library support, there is the 25,000 books in our library, and library parliamentarian can take the benefit from the library. Research and oversight, impeachment and committee effectiveness, policy brief and bill brief, parliamentary vocabulary publication. That was our functions, what we contributed. Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. We shared ideas and information from Kyrgyzstan to Nepal. We recognize that there are so many similarities and differences between countries, and the problems facing, and vulnerability or possibility. So I hope to open to the floor question or suggestion from each other. First, if you have any question to each other, raise your hand. Okay. And open to the floor. Oh, you have, okay.
In Russia, he is...
Okay. Russia and in English.
Я вот хотела бы узнать, вот Непал и Кыргызстан — горные страны, и у нас развивается сейчас интенсивно туризм, горный альпинизм. И вот какие меры принимает Непал для сохранения горной экосистемы, поскольку сейчас существует проблема по загрязнению экологии горных систем?
So both Nepal and Kyrgyzstan are mountainous countries, and they both develop tourism, alpine tourism. And what kind of measures does Nepal take in order to conserve the ecosystem and not to get it contaminated? Thank you. Yes, that's all.
Nepal is the venue for tourism. Once Nepal is not enough because it is rich in biodiversity. Our former secretary already said Nepal has the 29th position in biodiversity. It has the snow-capped mountains and it is rich in greenery, so that visiting Nepal tourism sector is important, and policy, program and guidelines are made to cater the issues. Thank you. Tourism destination. Nepal is the tourism destination because it is rich in biodiversity. It has the snow-capped mountain. It is rich in natural diversity as well as cultural diversity. Culture is our great asset. It is our soft tool. It is the national soft tool to promote tourism. For this, policy, plan, action, and program are aligned. So to visit Nepal once is not enough, and everyone should visit Nepal. That is our slogan. Thank you.
We have Mount Everest.
Yes, after finishing this session, probably we can have another chance to talk more enoughly. Yeah. Is there any question from the floor? Yeah. Yeah, left side. Yeah. Your affiliation, name, and dedicating to someone.
Hello, I'm Soyeon from Environment and Labor Team at NARS. First of all, thank you for your insightful presentations. I learned a lot about climate policies from various countries. I have two questions. And the first question to Ms. Ayjen Jakshilikova. Regarding the upcoming draft law on climate action, could you share which climate areas it will mainly focus on? For example, adaptation, resilience, or carbon emission measures, like something else? And second is related to my personal interest. Due to climate crisis, as far as I know, floods, droughts, and shortage of waters are becoming more frequent in various countries, such as Kyrgyzstan and Pakistan. So are there any governmental policies addressing possible climate displacement, and which actions international community should take to deal with this issue? Thank you.
Second question is
Open to. Thank you.
Would you like to repeat your question a bit slowly?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm sorry. About second question. Are there any governmental policies addressing possible climate displacement, and which actions international community should take to deal with this issue? Thank you.
Yes, there are displacements. There are displacement in Pakistan, and the provinces which are specifically hit by the 2025 flood is mostly in Punjab and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, right? And then again, the 2022 flood have submerged 1/3 of the land. Displacement are common, but then again, we have policies and align with the international NGOs, especially in Sindh. The government, with the help of international funding, have erect houses which is according to the rapidly increasing climate change. So they are pro-climate change housing schemes for the displaced people. As long as the international community involvement in this area, I would rather say that in COP27 and in COP28, Pakistan vigorously fight for the climate damage and loss fund, but unfortunately, most of the funds are not yet released. So for international community, I think it is urgent that what promises they made there, because we are suffering because of the emission which the global south is adding to the atmosphere. So I think for international community or for international organization, it is urgent that the funds promised in the loss and damage fund should be released on priority basis.
Thank you.
начали применять зеленые технологии. Также у нас есть проблема переработки отходов. В этой области тоже мы начали принимать меры, чтобы эти проблемы не влияли на изменение климата. Также у нас есть программа «Зеленая страна», где мы начали проводить посадку деревьев для сохранения наших ледников, поскольку у нас сейчас первая проблема – это таяние ледников, и мы должны сохранить наши ледники, чтобы не было вот этих внутренних миграций. Спасибо.
So we started using the green technologies, and also we started the processing of wastes, and we are also using the energy effective resources, and in order to stop the melting down of the glaciers, we are planting the trees, and in order to conserve the glaciers, as I told.
Thank you.
Yeah, from Russian to English, Korean. Yeah, there are so many languages here. Yeah. Because of the time limit, we cannot have another Q&A session for this part of a second session. So I hope you can have a time to talk more freely with a coffee. We have 15 minutes. 15 minutes, okay? 10 minutes?
We are running a bit behind schedule, so
10 minutes coffee break. And then 3:20.
20, yeah.
3:20, we start the second part of the second session. Thank you for your presentation, and give again a warm applause. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, great. Yeah.
Once again, we will take 10-minute break, coffee break, so please be back by 3:20, please. Good afternoon, everyone. We will begin session 2 in a minute. Please be seated or make your way back to the seminar room, please. We will begin once again session 2 in a minute at 3:20. Please take your seats or make your way back to the seminar room. And I would like to invite the session moderator and presenters for the part of the session 2. Thank you. Presenters, please come to the stage for the presentation. Everyone, please take your seats. We will begin right away. Please make your way into the seminar room. We will begin session 2, part 2.
We have to overcome another afternoon drowsiness and jet lag. Yeah. Yeah. We will now begin the second part of the second session. The format will be the same as the first part. And I said earlier, if possible, I want to have 10 minutes for comprehensive discussion, but it's not easy. But if possible, I hope. Let me introduce presenters from various countries. I pronounce. From Cambodia, Dr. Pieces Keo. Here. And next, from India, Prasanta Kumar Mali. From EPRS, Sarah Seil. From China, Chunfeng Shi. From Korea, Seungman Lee. Yes. You're the first? Yeah. Then the first presenter is Mr. Pieces Ko. Yeah, 10 minutes.
Hello. Yeah, thank you for the floor. And first of all, I would like to express my sincere thanks for the invitations and for the organization of the important and timely international seminar this. And Yes, it's a very important session for us to learn and share with each other and to do networking as well. I'm always impressed with the warm hospitalities and great organizations, have always impressed by the content, substance, and also that produce conducive environment for us to learn, to share, to network, and a lot. And that we could do and to promote, to do better for our own country and also for the world at large. And I feel a special privilege to be here because when we come here to talk about climate change, because Korea is one of the leaders in combating climate change. You can learn a lot from advanced technology in mitigating and adapting to climate change, from energy efficiency, renewable energy, smart water management, you name it. And I happen to, over this year, I'm privileged to be back and forth to Korea to learn about climate change and on different technology. I used to get training on energy efficiency and so on. So Korea is like, I feel like my second home already, coming back here, or my second time, or even third time this year to come to Korea. So my presentation, it's about climate change, and actually also some lesson learned from the Korea long ago, and we apply back to for our national developments and to contribute to legal process and law adoption as well. So my topic more on sharing from Cambodia. What happened? Oh, I happen to have the problem on this. Okay. Yep. Okay. Yeah, so first with the overview of Cambodia, small country with a low carbon emitter, least developing country. Of course, and as same to many other countries, we are vulnerable to climate change and flood and drought. Even we are do not produce emitted much to the environment, to the planet. But we are not here to discuss about who to blame. It's not about the blame game. It's more about what can we do to contribute to combating climate change, mitigating in our own capacity, and at the same time adapting to the climate risk and disaster. So Cambodia, as you may know, in South Asia, one of South Asian nations, and we ratified UN Climate Change Convention framework on the Framework Convention on Climate Change in 1995, and since then we been adopting different legal instruments and policy, been following the international obligations. So here's a bit of a snapshot to Cambodia. We are land area of 181 kilometers with population of slightly below in 2020. Now I think more than 17 million already. And the Cambodia, the sectors itself, it's largely based on agriculture and very vulnerable to drought and flood. And this time it's flood and coming to drought soon, so always vulnerable, high vulnerability. And we have industry, economic sector, we have industry and service sector as well with growing economy. And natural hazard, you can see we always face with flood and drought throughout the year. We have storm also increase with the climate hazard. And so it is the projection by the World Bank and the ADB in 2021 with the warming of 3.5 degrees by 2090. Of course, Cambodia will face serious essential threat to our survival and economy. And with regard to legislative framework, we have been adopting actually in 1995, it already 30 years now. So we put climate change into our national strategy, and we have different policy on the energy efficiency, on agricultural development. We also have the cooling action plan as well. We have environment, NER is Environment and Natural Resource Code 2023, but it's for a long-term plan. And we also have our long-term strategy for carbon neutrality by 2050 to become carbon neutral. So we will try to achieve 60% of forest cover target. We have energy transitions and integration, mitigation, adaptation to our national policy. It's a long way. And we were actually optimistic about when we, in 2015, the climate change was already a topic to be discussed, but now with the war all over the world, it's a bit off track for Cambodia, but regionally and globally as well. But we are here to discuss and try our best to move toward the achievement to combat with this essential threat posed by climate change to Earth and to our planet and humanity. And so this is our what we have done. We have policy planning, development, institutional setting, public expenditure increase. We have subnational mainstreaming, clean development, piloting project, rate voluntary market, and so on. With this, what I talk about, this voluntary market now is not insurable. And also we have the rate, the project, the various project on the private project as well, but then it's faced with barrier at this moment. And for Cambodia to achieve the climate policy and effort, we start with the legislation, start with policy and development and institutional setting. We have all the multi-stakeholder, cross-sectoral committee, and we also have the technical working group at different ministry and at subnational level as well. So it's more of a whole government approach and also whole society approach with participation by multi-stakeholder. We Cambodia alone, the government alone cannot achieve climate goal without participation from multi-stakeholders, from donor, from private sector, and so on. So here, Cambodia commitments, and yeah, we'll try. This is just a project that we're doing for the clean development project. We also collaborate with private sector, with Korea as well on these projects. And here's our projections effort for international determined contributions. I will try to go quick because of the time limit, and we also have prioritized actions, adaptation, mitigation, and enabling action like capacity building, institutional training, and so on. And we also have NDC tracking tool as well with data management, progress on implementation, and finance. And political commitment, of course, we align with UNFCCC, Kyoto Protocol, Paris Agreements, and we are active in ASEAN and UNESCAP climate forums. And yeah, climate fund in here, actually the green climate fund, right? And yep, we also work on challenge, of course, with finance, technology, infrastructure, institutional capacity, and public perception attitude. Of course, the public perception play a very important role, but we have to do on various sectors in order to combat climate change. And we also have opportunity in terms of economically. We also, when we adapt our, transform our economy, we also have opportunity of 2.8% of GDP, and we also have employment and poverty rate. And environmentally, it's very important for biodiversity, for oil, for air, for water and soil, for various benefits. So, and this is the timeline that we have done so far. And for the role of the Parliament, of course, we can do a lot to strengthen the role of the Parliament in lawmaking, in legislative oversight, representative, and we can also do like what we do here, parliamentary diplomacy and partnership to combat climate change. And of course, our role as a research institute, we have actually around 80 staff at the Parliament, but we've done different things. But at the same time, we can do review law and prepare 8 memo and analysis for our MP to promote further on the climate agenda. So that's so. In conclude, we still have less than 10 minutes actually. Cambodia evolving from policy ambition to legal actions, and be supporting the member parliament in order to advocate and push the action further, and also we promote multi-stakeholder collaborations, and we framework climate. Right now at policy, we hope to advance to climate law, and of course we have a law on environmental protections on various sectors related to climate change already. And we parliamentary research and collaboration are key to shaping resilient and equitable future. That's pretty much of my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ko. Thank you for your presentation, and we can get many information and insights from your presentation. Next presenter is from India, Prasanta Kumar Malik. Yeah.
Thank you. So before starting with the presentation, I must thank the Chief of NARS and the entire team of NARS and the Director General himself who is chairing this session. So I was just telling to one of my colleagues here that the arrangement here has been fantastic, and all the members of the staff of NAS has been really phenomenal in terms of extending a grand welcome to all of us. So thank you very much for all your cordial hospitality. So coming to the subject, that is climate change and legislative political trends, what we all are listening from our honorable delegates is the government measures that has been taken to combat the climate change. So I will rather focus a little bit, though I'll also take that government measures, but I'll focus a little more on two experiences, because here we are all here for sharing of information and good practices, in fact. So first let me start with that, though it is not in my slide. Let me start with the thing that the concept of environment is very dear to Indian culture. So culturally and ethically, Indians believe in nature. Nature means earth, air, water, trees, even animals. So this is a cultural practice and belief in Indians that some superpower and divinity is there. So all these elements are considered as divine. Therefore, this is the kind of ethos that Indians do carry along with them. Therefore, they respect and kind of worship the nature. So coming to the crisis, everybody knows what kind of crisis we have all been facing. So I'll not harp more on that. What I will harp on that as to how India has been addressing the issues of climate change. So India, as you all know, is one of the largest countries. Of course, my colleague from China is here. So we are just next to China. Probably we have far outnumbered China in terms of population. And in terms of area also, we are having so diverse weather in our country that it's a mountainous terrain, it's a coastline, it's a desert, it's a forest, so many types of environment that we come across in India, and we have different challenges. Recently only in the month of August, we had torrential rains in one of our states, which resulted in large number of casualties and loss of wealth as well. Now moving forward, how and in what context we have been addressing the issue. So we have been facing all these issues, heat wave, as one of our colleagues recently stated. So India is the third largest emitter, in fact, critical global role. Therefore, we have adopted a strategic policy foundation. So you can see in terms of National Action Plan on Climate Change, we have adopted it in 2008. So we have missions like solar energy, energy efficiency, and agriculture. And we have aligned with all international commitments like UNFCCC and all global climate frameworks. Prior to that, I must take you back to the constitutional provisions that, as I said earlier, we have a cultural legacy to revere our nature. We have put in our constitution, Article 47 of Indian Constitution, the state must improve nutrition, living standard and public health. So this is part of environment. And 51A, duty of citizens to protect the environment. So this is part of fundamental duty, part 4A of our constitution. So this climate action emanates not only from government, but from the citizen-centric mission. So we have different missions. You can just see the National Solar Mission that we have targeted to achieve 100 gigawatt by 2022, that we have already achieved. Now by 2030, we have an ambitious target of achieving 500 gigawatts of solar energy. Enhanced focus on renewables, energy efficiency. Then we have international commitments, as my colleague from Cambodia just said, that intended nationally determined contribution. India has an aggressive emission reduction strategy. We have COP26, we have our individual strategy that is called Panchamrit, which our Prime Minister has recently stated. So I'll just harp on that aspect. Then coming to the role of Parliament, as I said, Energy Conservation Act, we have enacted a legislation that presupposes conservation of our energy. That is National Renewable Energy Act. Environment protection is one of the important component of our policy. And in recent measures, so many, interesting to know that so many private members' bills are coming up in Parliament. Therefore, it signifies, other than the government parties or the members in general are coming to address the issue of this climate change. Now, our flagship initiatives, we must take you to. This is National Green Hydrogen Mission and FAME India. Again, Ujala, there are so many policies that have been aimed at addressing the issue of climate change. If we can just go into FAME India, electronic vehicles, just prior to this session, one of colleagues said about electronic vehicles. So the vehicular pollution has been one of the important causes in India. That is to address that. The government has changed a policy to switch over from diesel and petrol-driven cars to now to electric vehicles. So we have the urban and state level action. So these are some of the measures that we have been taking, but here I must share you one aspect of how we have been tackling and how we have created a conducive atmosphere to tackle all these things. In one of the eastern states of India, that is called Orissa, in fact the state from where I come from, in 1999 there was a severe cyclonic storm that led to death of 10,000 people on that state, in my own state. So the government took so conscious a decision that the particular state government, they came up with a very strong idea of creating all these shelter homes near the coastlines and created a mechanism of helplines that are so smart and vehicles that can bring them to the station. So that after 99, after 5 years, till now until 2025, 4 severe cyclonic storms have snapped that area without leading to a single casualty. So this effort of that state has been acclaimed by international community at different forums. So I urge all of you to just glance in even Google. You can Google it and you can see how the kind of measures that we have taken to address this issue of climate change. Now the global leadership and partnerships aspect, we are all members of this G20, COP29, major bilateral climate initiatives. We are all for that. We are advocating for climate justice, finance and technology transfer because that plays an important role in terms of addressing this issue. Therefore, we are moving into next segment is achievement and outcomes. So till now, if we show that achieved more than 43% non-fossil installed energy capacity by 2023, and the emission intensity down by 33% from 5 to 2019. Therefore, expansion of monitoring and capacity building adaptive technologies have been taken off. Now we are coming into challenges and way forward. Then climate finance and technology transfer, as my colleague from Pakistan was also reducing that fund. So he was raising the issue of fund. So this is one aspect where the developed countries, because we are still lagging behind in terms of other countries, therefore we need that finance. And we have common but differentiated responsibility with regard to addressing any international community issues. There is need for greater compliance and innovation. Paths towards we have targeted even 2021, our Prime Minister in COP26 in Glasgow has declared that India will be a net zero emission country by 2070. So we are working strongly towards that. Before concluding, I must tell you the initiatives we take in our Parliamentary Research Service in India. So we keenly observe and analyze the policy in great detail. Through our committee papers, we also present a view which galvanizes members' interest to participate in effective debates in the House. And another aspect that in our service, I must tell you that in our outreach division, we invite college students, school students, university officers, and all other officers of Government of India, where we sensitize them about the need for climate change. Another mass impact, I must tell you, that the government has recently announced to plant one sapling in the name of your mother. I was just telling how culturally we are sensitive and tied up with nature. The Prime Minister has in fact gave a call that plant one tree in the name of your mother. Yeah. So with this, I'm just coming to conclusion, 1 minute more. So this is the model which balances growth and stewardship, which is national action, legislative leadership, and global cooperation as well. So thank you very much. I invite any questions from you. As my director.
Thank you for your presentation. And next presenter is Sarah Seoul from EPRS.
Thank you very much. Thanks to our hosts again for these very interesting discussions today. So yeah, I'm from the European Parliament, and I guess one of our most special or significant characteristics is that we are an international legislative body. We have 720 members, and they come from 27 member states. So that is a lot of different national political cultures to work with. And in fact, we have more or less almost 200 political parties from Europe represented in the European Parliament. So we really are, our motto is united in diversity. We are not always united, but we are definitely always diverse. So what's the situation? I want to set the scene a little bit for European Union, and one thing I can say, we heard it already from many colleagues who talked about the direct impact of climate change on their country. We feel it also in Europe. Europe is the fastest warming continent, partly because the Arctic is the fastest warming region of the world, and we're pretty close to the Arctic. 2024 was the warmest year on record in Europe, and of the last 10 years, probably 5, 6, 7 of them have been the warmest years on record. So we really feel it every year. Some of our colleagues mentioned already, we see floods, we see forest fires, we see extreme heat waves, and our cities and our buildings and our practices are not always well equipped to deal with that, even if we are a wealthy and developed part of the world. June this year was the warmest June on record in Western Europe. So literally every year, if not every month, we see records falling, and it's not going in a great direction, we have to say. That being said, we are making significant and big efforts at EU level on our climate targets. So just to set the scene, we wanted by 2020 to receive 20% reduction in greenhouse gas emissions compared to the baseline of 1990. And we got there. In fact, we overachieved that, probably with a lot of help from COVID, because that for sure helped all of us around the world to reduce emissions. Our next milestone, so to say, is 2030. We aim to have a 55% in reductions. That's the so-called European Green Deal, which has been a big part of European legislation in the last 5, 6 years. And that is enshrined in the so-called European climate law. In other words, we have to make it happen. What is also enshrined in the European climate law is that by 2050, we want to achieve net zero. So we want to be climate neutral by 2050 at the very latest. There are, and this is where it starts to get, of course, interesting and politically contested, there are other milestones along the way, notably for 2035 and 2040, which are still under discussion, and those discussions are difficult politically, it must be admitted. Now, this is a lovely graph, but I don't know how good your eyesight is. In any case, it's replicated in the booklet that you got, so you'll be able to look in a little more detail. This is our so-called Fit for 55 package. And this relates mainly to our targets for 2030. At the European level, we adopted at least 19 different pieces of legislation to get there. So incredibly detailed work in each and every sector, and as you can well imagine, tricky and difficult technical discussions on each and every sector. Put very broadly, 3 big areas where we focus our legislative work on: buildings, transport, and energy. So that's what you see over on the right-hand side. In the middle, you see the list of the different legislative files. And over on the left, I can call them the pillars of our climate policy. That's the ETS sectors, the emissions trading system. We have an emissions trading system in operation since 1990. Then what we call effort-sharing sectors concerns a lot those elements which were not included in the initial emissions trading scheme. And then land use change, and forestry. So on all of those items, we, as the European Parliament Research Service, have been producing briefings. They're all online. I'm going to share the link with you later. But like any classic research service, we're providing briefings to our members on the different pieces of legislation, and members can come to us and ask for individual research work on any and every EU policy or legislative file. Now, I'm going to skip through a lot of these next slides. Well, maybe some have already been deleted. Let me see. I'm going to go straight to this one on, I think you have a slightly longer version of my presentation in the printed program, but that's good. You find more details there. I skipped straight through to this one, national implementation. And here again, of course, we heard already from our Pakistan colleague that, you know, sometimes the responsibility goes at the national level or the subnational level. In our case, a lot of the responsibility for implementing the EU's climate legislation and policies is with the EU member states. All of them have national energy and climate plans. There is a difference between them in terms of the planning process, in terms of the level of ambition, in terms maybe even of the quality. But again, we in the research service, we have invested quite a bit to analyze on a country-by-country basis the national climate plans for each member state, and also those documents, we'll be happy to share them with you. It's something we would like to do more of. We have quite a lot of demand to analyze EU policies on a member state by member state basis. But even though we're relatively well-resourced research service, we simply don't have the resources to do that on each and every policy area. So, enforcement, a bit of a challenge for us. European Commission is the official body that ensures that member states implement EU law. If they don't do it, it can take them to court. That's usually a bit of a last resort, but it has happened in some cases that the European Commission has launched infringement proceedings, as we call them, against member states because they have either failed to implement or they have been late to do what they are supposed to do. Now, something that's a bit in the news this week, in Brussels at least, is setting the target for 2040. So European Commission would like us to get to 90%, again, below the levels of 1990. So we want to get to 50%, we want to get full 100% emissions are gone by 2050, and the idea would be to have a 90% target of reduction for 2040. It's proving difficult, it's proving quite controversial. We were not able to decide that at the level of our environment ministers. It's been sent right up to the top, so to the leaders of government, and they will meet in Brussels this week, I think on Thursday, Friday, and this is one of the items on the agenda. In principle, European Union leaders understand very well that we have to continue to set ambitious targets. But in practice, of course, like many other parts of the world, the targets conflict with other objectives. Let's be very frank. We have a difficult energy situation in Europe. We are not very well resourced in terms of own resources in energy, so we are dependent on prices on the international market. We have relatively slow economic growth at the moment. So if you, for example, impose further regulation on key sectors in society, be that transport, automotive, building. Of course, politicians are politicians. They get lobbied by business and by industry, and they're very, you know, they have to take some difficult decisions on all these things. You have to, in a way, square some targets which may be conflicting or competing with each other. So we're coming down to the wire on that particular topic this week in Brussels. What I saw most recently in the news is that the European Commission will try to insist that we keep this 90% target for 2040, but we'll probably add in some extra layers of flexibilities, and this may be the way that it can be sold across the member states. I think I mentioned already some of the items on this file, on this slide. We are in a period of geopolitical volatility. I didn't mention it, but for reasonably obvious reasons, most, if not all, EU member states are spending, want to spend, feel they have to spend more money on defense these days. So again, another objective which is very understandable, but which means that money for other issues may be a little more tricky to find. We are also at the moment in Brussels organizing or negotiating on our long-term budgets. We often set budgets for 5, 6, 7 years at a time, and the European Commission has just put forward its proposal for the period 2028 to 2034, and it's proposed in that more or less 35% of EU spending should be ring-fenced for climate and environmental objectives. It's a bit more than what we're currently spending. It must be said the EU budget is large, but it's small when you compare it to the spending of EU 27 governments. So EU spending accounts for about 1% of the combined spending of the EU 27. And a lot of what the EU is spending money on is European public investments, in other words, to do things at European level that are more efficient to do at European level. So again, there will be quite a lot of political discussions on the EU budget, where to put the priority, where to find the money. If you give a bit more for one thing, you have a bit less for another. So classic political negotiations, they've just started and they will keep us going at least another year or so, but we expect by 2028 to have a new long-term budget. I stop there because I'm out of time, but I have put on the slide for our hosts a few examples of the good cooperation now on climate and on science between the European Union and South Korea, so I hope that really continues. And I see that in July this year, Korea has joined the Horizon Europe research program, which is a wonderful research program, and I'm happy to see you there. I'll stop on that. Maybe this is the promotion now. This is where you find our products. It's also, as said in the booklet, happy to talk more about any of the issues I've raised. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. We can share many informations and good information. Yeah. Next presenter from China, Chun-Peng Shi. The presentation of Chun-Peng Shi will be delivered in Chinese. So it will first be interpreted into Korean, and then interpreted into English. So all attendees, except those can be comfortable in Chinese, should use the device. Yeah.
Thanks a lot. Good afternoon, everyone. Because my English is not very good, so please allow me speak in Chinese. Okay. 我跟大家分享的题目呢是推动绿色低碳发展，应对气候变化的中国法治实践。
네, 제가 오늘 여러분과 나누고 싶은 주제는 녹색 저탄소 발전 추진과 기후변화 대응을 위한 중국의 법치 실천이라는 내용입니다.
全国人大常委会呢十分重视绿色低碳发展、应对气候变化的相关立法工作。早在上个世纪的1992年11月，全国人大常委会就做出了批准联合国气候变化框架公约的决定。
네, 전인대 상무위원회는 그 녹색 저탄소 발전과 기후변화 대응 입법을 매우 중요하게 다뤄왔습니다. 일찍 1992년이죠. 그때 11월에 유엔 기후 변화 협약을 비준하면서 중국의 첫 기후 대응 법적 기반을 마련하였습니다.
2009年的8月呢，11届全国人大常委会呢又专门通过了一个关于积极应对气候变化的决议。 提出呢，要把法治建设，要把加强应对气候变化的相关立法，作为形成和完善中国特色社会主义法律体系的一项重要任务，纳入立法的工作议程。
네, 나아가 2009년 8월에는 11기 전국 상무위원회에서 기후변화 대응 강화를 중국식 사회주의 법 체계의 핵심 과제로 삼는 결의안을 통과시켰습니다. 이를 계기로 관련 입법이 본격적으로 추진되기 시작했습니다.
此后呢，全国人大制定修改了一系列应对气候变化的相关法律，包括节约能源法、清洁生产促进法、可再生能源法、循环经济促进法、森林法、草原法和其他相关保护生态环境方面的法律。
네, 그 이후 일련의 법 개정이 있었는데요. 예를 들면 에너지 절약법, 청정 생산 촉진법, 재생에너지법, 순환경제촉진법, 산림법, 초원법 등 다양한 환경 관련 법률이 제정되었습니다.
党的18大以来呢，以习近平同志为核心的党中央将碳达峰、碳中和工作纳入生态文明建设整体布局和经济社会发展的全局，协同推进降碳、减污、扩绿增长。
네, 당 18대 이후 시진핑 주석을 중심으로 해서요. 당 중앙은 탄소 피크와 탄소 중립을 생태 문명 건설의 전체 그림 속에 포진을 했고요. 경제 사회 발전의 핵심 목표로 삼고 탄소 감축, 오염 저감, 녹색 확장 등 모든 성장을 함께 추진하고 있습니다.
全国人大常委会贯彻落实习近平生态文明思想，加强了生态环境资源保护方面的立法工作。 为应对气候变化提供了更加有力的法律保障。
네, 전인대 상무위원회는 시진핑 생태문명 사상을 실천에 옮기며 환경 그리고 자원보호 입법을 강화해 나갔습니다.
2016年的9月，全国人大常委会作出批准巴黎协定的决议。
그리고 2016년 9월에는 전인대 상무위원회에서 파리 협정을 비준하였습니다.
进一步修改环境保护法、大气污染防治法等。 对减污降碳协同控制、鼓励低碳生活生产方式等作出原则性规定。
네, 또한 환경보호법과 대기오염 방지법을 개정해서 오염 저감과 탄소 감축을 함께 추진하였습니다.
制定湿地保护法，发挥湿地涵养水源、调节气候、改善环境、维护生物多样性等多种生态功能。
네, 그리고 저탄소 라이프와 생산 방식을 장려하는 원칙을 명시했고요. 습지보호법을 제정해서 습지가 가진 수원의 함양, 기후 조절, 환경 개선, 생물 다양성 유지 등 다양한 기능을 강화했습니다.
制定能源法，推进能源开发利用绿色低碳转型，加快构建清洁低碳、安全高效的新型能源体系。
또한 에너지법을 제정해서요. 에너지 개발과 이용의 녹색 저탄소 전환을 추진하고 효율적인 신형 청정 에너지 체계를 구축하고 있습니다.
修改矿产资源法，鼓励支持矿业绿色低碳转型发展，加强绿色矿山建设。
네, 또한 광물자원법을 개정해 광업의 녹색 저탄소 전환을 장려하고 있고요. 녹색 광산 건설에 박차를 가하고 있습니다.
2023年。 还将研究制定应对气候变化和碳达峰、碳中和方面的立法，列入14届全国人大常委会立法规划。
네, 2023년에는 기후변화 대응과 탄소피크, 탄소중립 관련 입법을 제14기 전인대 입법 계획에 포함시키기도 했습니다.
2025年9月，全国人大常委会审议了国务院关于应对气候变化和碳达峰、碳中和工作情况的报告。
그리고 2025년 9월에는 공무원이 제출한 관련 정책 보고를 심의했습니다.
在党中央的坚强领导下，各方面积极做好应对气候变化和碳达峰、碳中和工作。截至2025年6月底，非化石能源装机容量达到22.2亿千瓦，占总装机容量比例达到60.9%。
네, 당과 정부의 거버넌스 아래 각 부문이 적극적으로 기후변화 대응과 탄소 중립 정책을 추진했고요. 그 결과 2025년 6월 기준 비화석 에너지 설비 용량이 22억 2천만 킬로와트로 전체의 60.9%를 차지했습니다.
核电在运在建规模升至世界第1位，新能源汽车产销量连续10年全球第1，同时推进大规模的国统一化行动。 中国已成为全球森林资源增长最快最多的国家。
네, 원자력 발전 규모는 세계 1위로 올랐고 신에너지차의 생산과 판매량 역시 10년 연속 세계 1위를 유지하고 있고요. 또한 대규모 국토 녹화 사업을 진행하면서 중국은 산림 자원이 가장 빠른 속도로 증가한 국가로 자리매김했습니다.
与此同时，国务院制定了碳排放权交易管理暂行条例，首次以行政法规的形式明确了碳排放市场交易的制度。
네, 이와 동시에 국무원은 탄소 배출권 거래 관리 잠정 조례를 제정했고요. 행정 법규 차원에서 처음으로 탄소 시장 제도를 명확히 규정하였습니다.
不少地方积极制定清洁生产、循环经济、能源节约和可再生能源开发利用等方面的地方性法规，对绿色低碳发展、应对气候变化立法进行了有益探索。
이에 지방정부 역시 청정 생산, 순환 경제, 에너지 절약, 재생에너지 관련 법규를 적극적으로 만들고 있고요. 녹색 저탄소 입법을 탐색하고 있는 과정에 있습니다.
例如，上海出台发展方式绿色转型促进条例，浙江制定绿色低碳转型促进条例，山东出台绿色低碳高质量发展条例，天津出台碳达峰碳中和促进条例，青海、山西制定了专门的应对气候变化办法，湖北、广东、深圳等7个碳排放权交易试点，以及四川、福建等参与碳排放权交易的地区，还分别制定了碳排放交易的地方性法规。
네, 일례로 상하이 같은 경우는 발전 방식 녹색 전환 촉진 조례를, 그리고 저장성은 녹색 저탄소 전환 촉진 조례, 산동성은 녹색 저탄소 고품질 발전 조례, 텐진은 탄소 피크, 탄소 중립 촉진 조례를 시행했습니다. 또한 칭하이성과 산시성은 별도로 기후변화 대응 솔루션을 마련했고, 후베이성, 그리고 광동, 선전, 시촨, 푸젠 등은 탄소 배출권 거래 관련 조례를 각각 제정했습니다. 현재까지 전국적으로 녹색 저탄소 발전과 기후변화 대응 관련 지방 조례가 많이 발표되었습니다.
截至目前，绿色低碳应对气候变化方面的地方性法规有90余部。
따라서 현재까지 발표된 조례는 90건이 넘습니다.
绿色低碳发展是解决生态环境问题的治本之策。当前，中国正在加快编纂生态环境法典。
네, 녹색 저탄소 발전은 생태 환경 문제를 근본적으로 해결할 수 있는 아주 중요한 방안입니다. 현재 중국은 생태 환경 법전 편찬 작업에 박차를 가하고 있습니다.
2025年4月28日，14届全国人大常委会第15次会议对生态环境法典草案进行了审议。9月11日，第17次会议对生态环境法典总则编、生态保护编、绿色低碳发展编进行了再次审议。
네, 법전의 편찬에 대해서 구체적으로 말씀드릴 텐데요. 2025년 4월 28일 제14기 전인대 상무위원회 15차 회의에서 생태환경 법안 초안을 심의했고, 그 이후 9월 11일에는 17차 회의에서 법전의 총칙편, 생태보호편, 또한 녹색 저탄소 발전편 초안을 다시 심의하였습니다.
过几天将要召开的第18次会议呢，有计划对污染防治编、法律责任和负责编草案进行再次审议。
네, 이와 같이 재심의를 진행한 다음 올해 10월에 열릴 제18차 회의에서는 더 나아가 오염 방지, 법적 책임, 부칙 등의 초안을 다시 심의할 예정입니다.
需要强调的是，贯穿落实习近平总书记坚持不懈推动绿色低碳发展的重要指示要求和党的20届3中全会关于健全绿色低碳发展机制的部署，生态环境法典草案将绿色低碳发展独立成编。
네, 여기에서 이 자리에서 특별히 강조할 점은 시진핑 주석의 지침에 따라 끊임없이 녹색 저탄소 발전을 추진해야 한다라는 지시이죠. 그에 따라서 당의 20기 3중 전회에서 내린 녹색 저탄소 발전 메커니즘을 완비하는 방침에 따라서 이 모든 것들을 생태환경 법전 초안에 녹색 저탄소 발전이 독립된 장으로 구성되었다는 점이 강조드리고 싶은 점입니다.
在现行清洁生产促进法、循环经济促进法、能源法、节约能源法、可再生能源法和全国人大常委会有关决议等基础上，结合现实需要，聚焦与生态环境保护密切相关的绿色低碳发展重要环节、重要领域，适当考虑对应对气候变化、碳达峰、碳中和、绿色低碳发展等方面的法治要求，建立健全绿色低碳发展相关法律制度。
네, 현재 정부는 현행 청정 생산 촉진법, 순환 경제 촉진법, 에너지법, 에너지 절약법, 재생에너지법, 그리고 전인대 상무위원회 관련 결의에 근거해서 현실적인 상황에 맞춰 녹색 저탄소 발전의 핵심 분야를 중심으로 현재 운영되고 있고요. 기후변화 대응 탄소 피크, 탄소 중립 여러 가지 법치적 요구 사항을 반영해서 새로운 제도를 마련하고 있습니다.
主要内容包括：一是规定了绿色低碳发展的一般性规则、总体要求和发展循环经济、能源节约与绿色低碳转型、应对气候变化的具体目标。
네, 새로운 제도에서 첫 번째 제도를 말씀드릴 텐데요. 첫 번째는 녹색 저탄소 발전의 기본 원칙과 목표, 그리고 순환경제, 에너지 절약, 저탄소 전환, 기후변화 대응의 구체적인 방향을 제시했습니다.
明确了构建绿色低碳高质量发展空间格局、区域重大战略实施的绿色低碳发展导向和任务要求。
네, 또한 지역별 발전 전략에서 녹색 저탄소 발전의 큰 그림과 방향 그리고 과제도 명확히 제시하고 있습니다.
绿色交通、绿色建筑、农业农村等重点领域的绿色低碳转型要求，国家机关和其他使用财政性资金的公共机构以及企业、公民践行绿色低碳生产生活方式的义务、绿色低碳财政和科技创新等政策措施等。
네, 친환경 교통, 건설, 농업과 같은 주요 분야의 친환경 전환 요구를 현재 구체화하고 있고요. 정부기관, 공공기관, 그리고 기업, 시민 모두가 녹색 저탄소 라이프를 실천해야 한다는 의무를 명시했습니다.
二是围绕国家关于促进绿色低碳循环发展经济体系建设，加快构建废弃物循环利用体系等最新决策部署，整合现行清洁生产促进法、循环经济促进法有关规定。
네, 두 번째 새로운 제도는 중국 정부의 녹색 저탄소 순환 경제 체계 구축 방침을 제정했고요. 그에 따라서 청정 생산 촉진법과 순환 경제 촉진법을 통합함으로써 순환 경제 발전의 방향과 관리 시스템을 명확히 했습니다.
结合现实需要，明确发展循环经济的工作方针、管理体制。
네, 또한 현실성을 반영해서요. 청정 생산을 제도적으로 강화하고 생산자 책임 활용 제도도 발표하였습니다.
强化清洁生产推行和实施的制度保障，对生产者责任延伸，产品和包装物强制回收，退役风电和光伏设备循环利用，新型基础设施领域废弃物循环利用、生活垃圾等回收利用，以及再制造产业发展、再生材料使用等作出规定。
네, 방금 전에 말씀드린 EPR이죠. 생산자 책임제 활용 제도, 그리고 제품과 포장재 강제 회수, 퇴역한 풍력 태양광 설비의 재활용, 신형 인프라 폐기물의 재이용, 생활 폐기물 재이용 등의 내용을 포함시켰고요. 재제조 산업과 재생 소재 활용에 대한 규정도 마련했습니다.
建立健全绿色消费激励机制，推动消费模式绿色转型。
네, 또한 소비자의 녹색 소비를 장려하고 전체 소비 패턴의 녹색 전환을 유도하는 제도도 신설했습니다.
三是明确能源绿色低碳发展的工作方针，建立能源消耗总量和强度双控向碳排放总量和强度双控全面转型新机制。
네, 세 번째는 에너지 부분의 녹색 저탄소 발전 방향을 구체화한 내용인데요. 기존의 에너지 소비량 관리 체계를 탄소 배출 총량 강도 이중 제어로 전환하였습니다. 에너지 절약과 효율 향상을 강화하고요. 관련 기술 혁신도 적극 지원하고 있습니다.
推动节约能源和提高能源利用效率，鼓励和支持能源绿色低碳科技创新。
네, 여기에서 가장 중요한 것은 기술 혁신을 적극 지원하고 있다는 점입니다.
加强农业农村能源绿色低碳发展，健全节能监督管理体制，完善标准、节能审查、重点用能单位节能管理、能效标识等制度。
이를 통해 농업 농촌의 에너지 전환을 추진하고 에너지 절약 관리 체제를 개선하고요. 기준 심사 에너지 효율 표시제 등을 강화했습니다.
明确国家优化能源结构，推动化石能源清洁高效开发利用，支持优先开发利用可再生能源，建立绿色能源消费促进机制，加快构建新型电力系统，发挥各类储能在电力系统中的调节作用。
국가 차원에서 에너지 구조를 최적화하고 화석 연료의 청정 그리고 효율적 이용을 촉진하고 있습니다. 또한 재생에너지 개발을 우선적으로 추진하는 원칙을 세웠고요. 녹색 에너지 소비를 장려하고 신형 전력 시스템을 구축함으로써 저장 에너지가 전력 공급 조절에 기여할 수 있도록 노력하고 있습니다.
四是专章规定应对气候变化，充分考虑应对气候变化、 碳达峰、碳中和等方面的法治需求，坚持国际与国内统筹，减缓和适应并重，体现原则性、引领性。
네, 네 번째 정책의 새로운 변화는 기후변화 대응을 별도의 장으로 규정했다는 점인데요. 기후변화 탄소 피크, 탄소 중립 등과 관련된 법적 필요를 충분히 고려했고 국제와 국내를 아우르는 완화와 적응을 균형 있게 추진함으로써 법의 원칙성과 선도적 성격을 반영하였습니다.
对应对气候变化的工作原则、目标引领、管理体制、协调机制、地方政府职责、气候变化监测、信息共享、生态系统服务功能发挥、科技支撑等一般性制度作出规定。
네, 그리고 기후변화 대응의 원칙, 목표, 관리 시스템, 지방 정부의 역할, 모니터링과 정보 공유 등에 대해서도 명확히 규정하고 있습니다.
明确积极稳妥推进碳达峰、碳中和，将碳达峰、碳中和目标要求全面融入经济社会发展中长期规划。
네, 탄소 피크와 탄소 중립을 안정적이고 적극적으로 추진함으로써 그 목표를 국가의 중장기 경제 사회 발전 계획 전반에 통합시켰습니다.
规定了碳达峰、碳中和减缓气候变化的具体举措，包括碳排放总量和强度控制、碳排放统计核算、碳足迹管理、碳市场交易制度、生态系统碳汇监测核算等。
네, 탄소 피크, 탄소 중립을 달성을 위한 구체적인 조치를 제정했고요. 여기에는 탄소 배출 총량, 강도 관리, 그리고 배출 통계 계산, 그리고 탄소 발자국 관리, 탄소 배출권 거래 시장, 생태계 탄소 흡수원 모니터링 등이 포함됩니다.
还规定了适应气候变化的具体举措，包括适应气候变化国家行动与地方行动、重点区域和领域适应气候变化要求。 国土空间规划编制的气候变化影响和风险评估、灾害综合风险预警和评估、极端天气气候事件自然灾害综合治理和公众安全保障、气候变化健康风险评估等。
네, 뿐만 아니라 기후변화 적응 분야에서는 국가와 지방의 공동 행동 계획을 발표했고요. 중요 지역별 대응에 대한 구체적인 요구를 제정했고 국토 공간 계획 단계에 기후 위험 평가를 제정하고 재해 예보, 경보, 그리고 극단적 기후 사건에 대응하는 다양한 위험 평가 시스템을 구축하였습니다.
五是强化国际合作要求，规定加强绿色经贸、技术、金融、标准等领域的国际合作，鼓励绿色低碳技术和服务进出口积极参与国际规则和标准制定。
다섯 번째는 국제 협력을 강화하는 조항도 명시했다는 점인데요. 녹색 무역, 기술, 금융, 글로벌 스탠다드 등 다양한 분야의 국제 협력을 확대하고자 합니다. 녹색 저탄소, 그리고 기술 및 서비스, 수출입을 적극적으로 독려하고 국제의 룰 제정에도 적극 참여하고자 합니다.
在应对气候变化一章专门设一节规定国际合作，明确国家坚持 共同但有区别的责任原则、公平原则、各自能力原则，国家根据国情、发展阶段和实际能力，承担应对气候变化领域相应的国际义务。
네, 특히 기후변화 대응장 안에서는요, 국제 협력의 절을 특별히 따로 개설을 하였고 공동의 그러나 차별적 책임 CBDR이죠. 그것의 공평 공정의 원칙, 국가 역량의 원칙을 명시하였습니다. 이를 통해서 각국이 자국의 발전 상황과 능력에 맞게 국제적 의무를 이행하도록 하는 것이 원칙입니다.
开展应对气候变化多边、双边国际合作交流，推动应对气候变化领域标准和规则衔接互认，加大应对气候变化领域的人才队伍建设和技术合作力度。 鼓励开展应对气候变化国际技术交流与合作等等。
네, 또한 중국은 다자 간, 양자 간의 기후 협력을 적극 추진하고 있고요. 국제 기준, 상호 인정 체계를 구축하고 또 전문 인력 양성과 기술 협력을 강화하고 있습니다. 또한 기후 대응 관련 국제 기술 교류도 활발히 전개하도록 현재 독려하고 있습니다.
总体上， 中国在应对气候变化领域取得了扎扎实实的工作成效，应对气候变化相关法律体系日趋健全。
네, 전반적으로 중국은 현재 기후변화 대응에서 실질적인 성과를 거두었고 관련 법 체계도 말씀드린 바와 같이 점점 더 구체화되고 완비되어 가고 있습니다.
中国应对气候变化的法治实践 彰显着中国参与国际交流与合作的积极态度。我们愿与国际社会一道，共同努力，为应对气候变化做出更大贡献。
네, 중국의 기후변화 대응 법치 실천은 여러분께도 소개해드렸는데요. 국제사회와 함께 협력하며 인류 공동의 기후위기를 극복하고자 하는 중국의 의지를 여실히 보여준다고 생각합니다.
非常感谢大家的聆听。
네, 이상 제 발표를 마치겠습니다. 감사합니다.
Thank you for your presentation. Next, the last presenter, Seung-man Lee from Korea.
이승만 입법조사관입니다. 저는 에너지 정책을 담당하고 있습니다. 그래서 저는 오늘 에너지 전환 부문과 거버넌스 개편을 중심으로 기후위기 대응을 위한 대한민국의 입법정책 동향에 대해 간략하게 말씀드리겠습니다. 오늘 말씀드릴 내용의 순서는 다음과 같습니다. 먼저 최근에 기후에너지 관련 정부 조직 개편의 필요성과 논의 그리고 그 결과에 대해서 말씀드리겠습니다. 그 다음으로 기후에너지 거버넌스 개편에 의해서 논의되고 있는 발전 공기업 통합에 대해서 말씀드리겠습니다. 다음으로 간략하게 대한민국의 기후위기 대응을 위한 주요 입법 정책 동향을 타임라인을 이용해서 보여드리겠습니다. 그리고 지난 6월 대한민국 국회가 발표한 2035년 탄소중립 국회 로드맵을 간략히 언급하겠습니다. 그리고 마지막으로 기후위기 대응을 위한 바람직한 입법 정책 방향에 대해서 소소하게 제언드리겠습니다. 대한민국은 올해 여러 가지 이슈가 있지만 먼저 가장 눈앞에 닥친 것은 2035 국가 온실가스 감축 목표 설정입니다. 원래 올해 초에는 9월 달까지 수립을 해서 유엔에 제출할 계획이었으나 계속 늦어져서 적어도 11월까지는 수립해서 유엔에 제출할 계획입니다. 2021년에 상향된 NDC는 2018년 대비 40% 감축 목표를 하였습니다. 이번에 2035 NDC는 2018년 대비해서 48%, 53%, 61%, 65% 시나리오를 바탕으로 대국민 공개 논의가 이루어지고 있습니다. NDC 목표 달성과 탄소 중립을 위해서는 에너지 전환이 필요합니다. 이재명 정부는 대통령은 2040년 탈석탄을 공약으로 내세웠습니다. 그리고 에너지 전환을 위해서는 재생에너지 보급 확대가 필요하고 분산에너지 활성화가 필요합니다. 그리고 전력망 확충 역시 필요합니다. 이 그림은 전환 부분에서 온실가스 배출 실적과 목표 배출량을 보여주고 있습니다. 앞서 말씀드렸듯이 2031년부터 35년까지 국가 온실가스 감축 목표 설정이 필요한 상황입니다. 그동안 기후위기 대응을 주관하는 환경부 그리고 온실가스를 많이 배출하는 전환 부분과 산업 부분을 담당하는 산업통상자원부 사이에 불협화음이 있었습니다. 그러한 이유로 제14차, 11차 전력수 기본계획 수립 시에 재생에너지나 원전 이런 전원 구성을 어떻게 설정할지에 대해서 조화로운 모습을 보이지 않았습니다. 이런 이유로 국가 온실가스 배출량 통계에서 민간 석탄 화력발전소의 배출량 누락도 있었습니다. 그 결과 재생에너지 보급 속도는 미진하였고 온실가스 배출 저감 목표는 달성이 미흡하였습니다. 이 박스는 개정 전에 정부 조직법 관련 조문입니다. 기후에너지 관련 정부 조직 개편을 위해서 크게 세 가지 안이 논의되었습니다. 먼저 환경부 기후위기 대응 기능과 산업통상자원부의 에너지 기능을 합쳐서 기후에너지부를 만드는 신설하는 일안이 있었습니다. 다음으로 환경부의 산업통상자원부의 에너지 기능을 이관해서 기후환경에너지부로 개편하는 안이 있었습니다. 마지막으로 환경부 기후위기 대응 기능을 산업통상자원부에 이관해서 기후에너지 산업통상부로 만드는 안이 있었습니다. 이 그림은 기후에너지 거버넌스 개편을 위해서 논의된 세 가지 방안을 간단히 도식화한 것입니다. 지난 정부 조직법 일부 개정 법률안이 지난 9월 28일 본회의를 통과했고 10월 1일 시행되었습니다. 그 결과 산업통상자원부의 에너지 기능이 환경부로 이관되고 기후에너지 환경부로 명칭 변경 개편되었습니다. 그러나 자원산업과 원전 수출 기능은 산업통상부에 유지하게 됐습니다. 따라서 한국가스공사와 같은 자원 분야 공공기관은 산업통상부에 잔류하게 되었습니다. 정부는 조직 개편 마무리 후에 정기위원회의 독립성이나 전문성을 강화하고 그리고 전력감독원을 신설할지 여부 등을 논의하기로 계획하고 있습니다. 이 그림은 기후에너지 거버넌스 개편 결과로서 기후에너지 환경부를 간단히 도식화한 것입니다. 기후에너지 환경부 개편에 대해서 우려의 목소리가 있습니다. 이 그림은 제11차 전력수급 기본계획상 기간별로 필요한 발전 설비 용량을 나타낸 것입니다. 2035년부터 36년까지 소형 모듈형 원자로 1기와 2037년부터 38년까지 기존의 대형 원전 2기를 정부는 계획하고 있습니다. 이렇게 기후에너지 환경부로 개편되면서 이렇게 계획되어 있는 SMR과 대형 원전 2기가 건설이 백지화되지 않을까 하는 우려가 있습니다. 그리고 기후에너지 환경부가 기후위기 대응을 위주로 운영되고 그리고 재생에너지를 보급을 확대하고 그리고 이렇게 원전을 건설을 백지화하게 되면 결국은 전기요금 인상으로 이어지지 않을까 한 그런 우려가 있습니다. 그리고 같은 맥락에서 에너지가 산업부에서 분리되면서 산업 경쟁력이 약화되지 않을까 하는 그런 우려가 있습니다. 그리고 마지막으로 산하 공공기관의 혼란은 이미 국정감사에서 지적되었습니다. 예를 들어서 국내 원전의 건설과 운영은 기후에너지 환경부에서 주관하는데 원전 수출은 산업통상부에서 담당하게 되었습니다. 그러면 한국수자원은 한국수력원자력 주식회사는 어떤 부처의 감독을 받고 어떤 부처를 지원할지가 혼란이 발생할 것 같습니다. 기후에너지 거버넌스 개편 이후에 발전 공기업 통합 추진이 거론되고 있습니다. 우리나라 전력산업 구조는 이렇습니다. 먼저 발전 부분에서 6개 발전 공기업과 민간 발전회사 그리고 구역 전기 사업자들이 전력을 생산하고 있습니다. 이렇게 생산된 전력을 한국전력공사가 전력거래소를 통해서 구매하고 송배전 사업자인 한국전력공사가 수송을 통해서 최종 전기 소비자에게 판매하는 구조입니다. 이런 발전 공기업 통합 추진 논의는 공공기관 부채 정리와도 관련했지만 앞서 말씀드린 것처럼 탄소 중립 목표 달성과 2040년 탈석탄을 위해서 한 과정에서 전원 구성이 변화하는 것과 관련했습니다. 발전 공기업 통합안으로는 크게 두 가지가 있습니다. 먼저 석탄 화력 발전을 주력으로 하는 5개 발전 공기업을 2개로 통합하고 신재생에너지를 전담하는 발전 공기업을 설립하는 안입니다. 다음으로 1990년대 말부터 2000년대 초반에 추진된 전력산업구조 개편 1단계 전의 형태인 한국전력공사의 수직통합 체제로 회귀하는 안입니다. 이렇게 발전 공기업 통합은 관계자들의 첨예한 이해에 걸려있고 정의로운 전환과도 관련이 있어서 복잡하고 민감한 문제입니다. 이 그림은 문재인 정부부터 최근까지 대한민국 기후위기 대응을 위해서 입법 정책이 어떻게 전개되는지를 타임라인을 이용해서 간략히 정리한 것입니다. 문재인 정부에서 대한민국 탄소 중립을 선언했고 기본법을 제정했고 그 다음에 2030 NDC와 2050 탄소 중립 시나리오를 설정하였습니다. 그리고 윤석열 정부에서는 제14차, 제11차 전력수급 기본계획을 수립했고 제1차 탄소 중립 기본계획도 수립했습니다. 여기서 2024년 8월 29일에는 탄소 중립 기본법 제8조 제1항에 대해서 헌법 불합치 결정이 선고되었습니다. 이에 따라서 2031년부터 2049년까지 장기 온실가스 배출 감축 경로 설정이 필요한 사항입니다. 제일 아랫부분은 말씀드린 이재명 정부의 기후에너지 환경부 개편과 관련된 내용입니다. 지난 6월에는 대한민국 국회가 2035년 탄소 중립 국회 로드맵을 발표했습니다. 국회는 2030년까지 온실가스 배출량을 70% 감축하고 재생에너지 조달 비율을 80%까지 확대한다는 중간 목표를 설정하였습니다. 이를 위해서 국회의사당이나 도서관 같은 노후 건물을 리모델링해서 에너지 효율을 개선하고 그리고 건물 에너지원을 친환경으로 전환할 계획입니다. 마지막으로 기후위기 대응을 위해서 바람직한 입법정책 방향이 무엇인지에 대해서 소소한 제언을 드리겠습니다. 정부는 기후위기와 에너지를 동전의 양면으로 인식하고 기후에너지 정책을 통합적으로 균형 있게 추진해 나갈 필요가 있습니다. 지금까지 환경부는 기후위기 대응을 그리고 산업통상자원부는 에너지 안보 그리고 에너지 경제성을 최우선으로 하였습니다. 그러니까 한 정부에서 두 부처가 다른 목적을 향해 움직였던 것입니다. 이제는 하나의 정부에서 하나의 부처가 기후위기 대응을 목적 함수로 하고 에너지를 제약 조건으로 설정해서 기후위기 대응을 위한 해를 찾을 필요가 있습니다. 에너지환경부가 기후위기 대응 정책을 추진하면서도 산업 경쟁력을 어떻게 하면 유지할 수 있을지, 강화할 수 있을지를 고려하는 균형을 모색할 필요가 있습니다. 이것으로 발표를 마치겠습니다. 감사합니다.
Thank you, all presenters. We already 4:30, but I think we need one or two questions from audience or with each other. Yes, please. Short question. Name, affiliation, and
my name is Parvez from Pakistan. Actually, China, the United States, and India are the top three carbon countries for carbon emissions, followed by Russia and Japan. While China and India have high current emissions. As my colleague from India said that India will achieve net zero emission in 2027. My question is, what are the main policy instruments and practical steps Indian government is using to achieve net zero emissions targets?
Another question? One or two? Yeah, yes.
Thank you for asking me this question. So, in my slides, if you can just have a look at it, we have an indigenous policy of reducing the emissions, as I said, by 2070. That is the first step. By 2030, we are undertaking a policy to create 500 gigawatts of energy from non-renewable sources. That is another aspect. Already comparing to the level of 2005, we have already reduced 43% emission targets. As I said, we are aggressively pursuing a policy of forestation policy, in fact, afforestation. So that is also going on. And as I said, this motor vehicle transport, changing of this transport mode from diesel, petrol to electric vehicles, that has also been gaining momentum. And these are the three aspects, particularly on which India is aggressively working. And I hope that in the years to come, we'll be able to reduce the emission targets that has been set. Thank you.
Any other question? Just one more question allowed, please. Oh, the final question.
Hello, my name is Jung Min Song from the Legislative Researcher of North Korea. Actually, my question would be all of you, and then because I'm from the political legislative affairs team, because I want to ask a question related to political issues. So I think policies that address climate change can sometimes be politically unpopular, because there are instances where climate policies conflict with economic goals or economic development goals. So we can particularly observe those tensions these days because of artificial intelligence, because AI needs a lot of energies, and then those energies usually come from fossil fuels and nuclear energies. So how are your countries managing to achieve those conflicting goals between their economic development and climate change? And how are you gaining public support for solving those tensions? Okay, thank you.
Well, I can start off. Firstly, I think in the European Union there is public support to take measures to fight climate change. That's very clear in all the polling we do of European citizens, and it's particularly noticeable among young people. So we have a certain, I would say the public support is there. But as I think I already mentioned, it's true that indeed we have many competing objectives, and we have a limited amount of money to deal with all of them. I would say in the case of the European Union that, well, the last year elections to the European Parliament and the most recent renewal of the European Commission took place in 2024. And since we've had a newly elected Parliament and since we have a new European Commission back, these issues are getting a bit more contested and I guess difficult to resolve. But it's very clear, you know, we have set ourselves our legal milestones, and we have to continue. To reach them. AI is another great question. We've done a bit of work on that, but I'm not sure we have a clear policy specifically on data centers. But for sure, it's something also that our members are asking about, and it's not going to go away. So I think we'll probably see a little bit more reflection and perhaps regulation on that.
Ma'am, a small question. How many parliamentary researchers in European Parliament?
I would say we have our Parliamentary Research Service with about 160, 180 researchers. We have our library with 50 to 60 people, and the parliamentary committees also have some research capacities, which might be another 150. So we're pretty well resourced, it must be said.
Thank you.
感谢这位先生提的一个很好的问题。
좋은 질문 주셔서 대단히 감사합니다.
中国呢始终是世界这个绿色发展、推动应对气候变化的坚定的行动派和重要的贡献者。
네, 중국 정부의 입장은 향후 전 세계적인 이제 친환경 성장과 모든 발전에서 기후 위기를 우리가 극복하는 정책을 펼치려고 하는 어떤 저희는 행동파라고 볼 수가 있겠습니다.
正如您所说，应对气候变化、碳减排、碳中和，它对经济的发展会有一定的影响。
네, 말씀 주셨듯이 저희가 시행하는 정책, 넷제로라든지 그리고 탄소 중립이라든지 이런 모든 정책들이 경제 발전과 어느 정도는 상충되는 부분이 있죠.
所以说，我们国家提出要根据自己的情况进行自主贡献的一种提法。
네, 따라서 저희는 현재 실제 상황에 맞게 기여하는 만큼 쓸 수 있는 그런 제도의 균형점을 찾고 있습니다.
近5年呢，中国政府通过各方面的努力，包括通过宣传政策，取得各方面的共识，取得了一系列重大的成就。
네, 특히 최근 5년 동안 정부의 적극적인 홍보와 노력 그리고 거버넌스 정책에 근거하여 네, 큰 성과를 거두었는데요.
构建了全球最大、发展最快的可再生能源体系，建成了全球最大、最完整的新能源产业链，贡献了全球1/4的新增绿色面积。
네, 따라서 재생에너지 차원에서 전 세계적으로 가장 큰 시스템을 구축했고 신에너지 산업단지, 전 세계에서 가장 큰 산업단지를 구축하는 등 일련의 많은 성과를 이뤘습니다.
碳强度下降、非化石能源消费占比目标基本符合2030年国家自主贡献目标预期进度。
네, 그리고 탄소의 강도, 아까 말씀드렸던 이중 제어이죠. 비화석 에너지에 대한 사용량도 많이 늘고 있어서 2030년 중국이 제정한 그 목표를 달성하였습니다.
风电、太阳能发电总装机容量和森林蓄积量已经提前完成2030年的目标。
네, 그리고 풍력 발전, 산림 커버리지 등도 2030년의 목표를 조기 달성하였습니다.
上个月的9月24号呢，习近平总书记在联合国气候变化峰会上发表视频致辞时，又提出了我们新的目标。
네, 그리고 9월 24일이죠. 네, 시진핑 주석은 UN 기후 서밋에서 또 저희 정부의 새로운 목표를 발표하기도 했습니다.
所以说，中国应对气候变化的行动不会放缓。
네, 따라서 한마디로 중국은 기후 위기에 대응하는 정책을 느슨하게 하지는 않을 것이다라는 점을 말씀드리고요.
这个也依赖于全球所有国家的共同努力。
네, 이 모든 것은 전 세계 각국의 공동의 노력에 기여하는 것이라고 생각을 합니다.
我想我们在这里开会，主要目的也是想全球共同尽各自最大的努力来应对气候变化，
네,
推动我们的绿色发展。
저희가 이 자리에 이렇게 모여서 함께 회의를 개최하는 것도 공동의 노력을 통해서 기후 위기를 극복하자라는 취지에도 걸맞는다고 생각합니다.
谢谢。
네, 감사합니다.
Just want
Just
to
one
jump
minute.
in on a very quick one with regard to the balance between the economy and climate change. I think the most important thing is to provide scientific evidence that the threat is now, not tomorrow. It's not about 100 years, but it's now. For example, if you keep on using coal plants, the emission is there, the pollution is there, and the health of the people are here right now. And if you do not stop, the people, you cannot afford to have sick people. The economy will be down. It's not sustainable. And you would invest a lot of money on health, on water, and many other aspects. So we need evidence and to convince the people that we have to act now. The economy is not sustainable anymore. I believe any country would do, any people would participate. And the second effort, if we need a network of climate advocates from a national, subnational, private sector, donor community and local community to act together. When the voice is stronger, no one can stop that advocate, that campaigns, that how climate change have maintained in the moment. And as of now, it's sad that we have the war happening, but still you could see the commitment from the EU just now still there. So we have to maintain this strong network. That as we are saying here today, we are also part of the network as well. So that the key takeaway I would like to share.
Thank you. Thank you for all presenters and audiences for staying with us until the end. Thank you again. One applause, please. Thank you. Thank you.
Everyone, now we will take a 5-minute break and we will begin consultative meeting in 5 minutes at 4:45. Followed by a 20-minute presentation by Chief of the NARS, and then after that, we will head to the main chamber of the National Assembly. Thank you. So please be back by 4:45, please.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone. It's the time. Now it's 4:45. We will begin consultative body meeting sharply. Please take your seats and make your way back into the seminar room. 문 열면 한번. We'll begin consultative body meeting at 4:45. It's the time, so please take your seats and make your way back into the seminar room. Thank you.
네, 지금부터 특별 세션을 시작하도록 하겠습니다. 긴 세미나 동안 고생 많으셨습니다. 이제 마지막 세션입니다. 이번 세션은 저희가 이번 국제 세미나를 준비하는 과정에서 메일로 알려드린 바와 같이 국제적 입법 정보를 공유하고 의회조사기구 역량을 강화하기 위한 의회조사기구 협의체 구성을 제안하는 시간입니다. 국회 입법조사처가 그간의 의회조사기구 국제 세미나를 통해 세계 각국의 의회조사기구와 교류하면서 느낀 협의체 구성 필요성과 구체적인 운영 계획을 설명해 드릴 예정입니다. 참석자 여러분들께서는 계획에 대한 처장님의 설명을 듣고 궁금하신 사항을 발표 후 질문해 주시면 감사하겠습니다. 그럼 이관우 국회 입법조사처장님을 박수로 맞이해 주시기 바랍니다.
Hello? Yeah, hello, everyone. You must be very tired. Yeah, you traveled very long distance, and the time differences is very big issue. But you focused on the one-day seminar from the very morning to this time, and this is the last session. And I'm going to give you a short presentation. And please be patient. Yeah, I'm going to finish as soon as possible. Yeah. Okay. For efficiency, I'm going to talk about this issue in Korean now. 사전에 이메일로 여러분께 안내를 해드린 대로 의회조사기구 협의체 구성에 대한 설명을 지금부터 드리고자 합니다. 제가 의회조사기구 협의체 구성을 제안드리게 된 이유는 제가 임명된 이후로 여러 나라의 의회조사기구와 교류하면서 안정적이고 지속적인 국제 교류의 환경이 필요하다고 생각했기 때문입니다. 국회 입법조사처가 2010년부터 의회조사기구 국제세미나를 개최해서 내년에는 15회째를 맞게 됩니다. 이렇게 15년 동안 노력을 해왔지만 이렇게 짧은 기간 동안에 만나는 것으로는 우리가 각 나라 의회조사기구의 상황을 충분히 이해하고 교류를 확대하기에는 부족하다는 생각이 들었습니다. IFLA라는 조직이 있습니다만 이것은 주로 도서관이 중심이 된 기구이고 연구 분석을 하는 의회조사기구들의 교류와 협력의 장이라고는 보기가 어렵습니다. 또 IFLA의 PARL 역시 연간 1회 세미나를 개최하는 것 외에 다른 교류 협력이 발전되지 못하고 있습니다. 이러한 상황에서 우리가 10년이 넘도록 국제 세미나 때 잠시 만나서 각 나라의 상황을 논의하는 것보다는 공식적인 협의 기구를 만들어서 국제 세미나의 발전을 도모하고 매년 세미나의 주제를 함께 정하고 또 사전에 공동의 연구를 추진하는 것이 이제는 필요한 시점이라고 생각이 되었습니다. 각 연구기관의 연구 방법, 연구 상황, 연구 결과들을 함께 공유하고 발전시킬 수 있는 계기를 만들어야 할 시기라고 생각합니다. 그래서 오늘 저는 의회조사기구 협의체 구성을 공식적으로 제안하겠습니다. 저희가 이메일로 드린 사전 연락에서 총 9개국이 참여할 의사를 보여주셨고 5개국은 협의체의 위상, 조직, 역할에 대해 의견을 제시해 주셨습니다. 제안된 의견을 보시면 먼저 협의체의 위상과 관련해서 기존의 국제 네트워크와의 중복을 피하고 상호 보완적인 역할을 수행할 필요가 있다는 의견이 있었습니다. 조직 구성에 대해서는 각국 의회조사기구의 재정 부담을 고려해서 조직을 간소하게 운영하고 전담 사무국을 설치하되 초기에는 온라인 회의 중심으로 운영하자는 의견이 있었습니다. 또 협의체의 지역별 대표성을 확보하고 의장을 순환제로 실시하자는 의견도 있었습니다. 이러한 의견을 주신 데 대해서 대단히 감사드립니다. 이러한 의견들을 종합해서 잠시만요. 맞나 지금? 잠시만요. 이게 하나 더 안 들었군요. 예. 그리고 그 협의체에 잠깐만. 네네네. 죄송합니다. 그렇군요. 다음으로 협의체 역할에 대해서 말씀드리면 다른 외부 연구기관과의 효율적인 협력 모델을 구축하고 또 의회조사기구들의 디지털 전환 전략을 함께 고민하고 또 연구 방법론을 공유하고 또 회원국 직원, 특히 소규모의 의회 조사기구에 대해서 교육 훈련과 멘토링을 하자는 의견이 있었습니다. 저희가 이 협의체를 구성하고자 하는 목표는 바로 이러한 역할을 잘 하기 위한 것입니다. 협의체 구성에 있어서 회원국 간의 교류와 협력을 강화하는 것이 대단히 중요합니다. 오늘도 일부 회원국가 대표들에서 다른 나라 의회조사기구의 현황에 대해서 물어보는 질문들이 있었고, 또 다른 나라의 기후위기 대응 정책들에 대해서 알고자 하는 많은 질문들이 있었습니다. 그러한 부분들을 우리가 이러한 협의체를 통해서 공유한다면 앞으로 상호 간의 교류와 협력에 큰 도움이 되리라고 생각합니다. 또 특히 다른 조사기구나 도서관들을 통해서 이미 기존에 통과된 법들에 대한 정보들은 우리가 많이 얻을 수 있지만, 현재 법안 상태로 각 의회에서 진행되고 있는 내용에 대해서는 실시간으로 알 수 없는 경우들도 많습니다. 그러한 경우에도 우리 의회조사기구 협의체가 구성이 되면 조금 더 신속하게 여러 나라의 상황을 알 수 있을 것이라고 생각합니다. 이렇게 제시된 의견들을 고려해서 저희가 생각하는 협의체 구성의 운영 방향을 말씀드리겠습니다. 협의체 구성을 위해서 먼저 참여 의사가 있는 국가들과 함께 준비를 하겠습니다. 구성을 위해서 온라인 실무회의와 오프라인 협의 등을 통해서 공동협약서 체결을 위한 준비를 해 나가겠습니다. 이 과정에서 다른 나라의 참여를 독려하고 유도하는 것도 노력하겠습니다. 또 해당 국가들이 어느 정도 모아지면 공동협약서를 체결하고 사무국을 설치하고 정식으로 협의체를 출범시킬 예정입니다. 장기적으로는 IFLA 또 다른 국제기구 및 연구기관과의 협력도 추진할 예정입니다. 이러한 진행 방향에 대해서 세 가지 형태로 기간에 따라서 활동 로드맵을 설명드리겠습니다. 먼저 단기적으로 참여 의사가 있는 국가와 우선 공동협약서 체결을 준비하고자 합니다. 참여 의사를 밝힌 국가들 간의 온라인 미팅을 실시하고 이것은 저희가 준비를 하도록 하겠습니다. 그리고 공동협약서의 내용에 대해서 각 나라의 의견을 모아서 협의하도록 하겠습니다. 또 국가별 예산 상황과 각 기관의 규정에 대해서 검토하고 공동 연구를 할 수 있는 주제에 대해서 또 대화를 나누겠습니다. 또 사무국의 조직과 역할에 대해서도 검토할 예정입니다. 이렇게 준비가 끝나면 저희의 첫 번째 목표는 내년인 2026년도 15회 국제 세미나에서 참여 의향이 있는 나라들과 우선적으로 공동 협약서를 체결하고자 합니다. 또 공동 협약서가 체결되면 상설 사무국을 설치하여 운영하겠습니다. 상설 사무국은 협의체 운영, 공동 연구의 지원, 연구 데이터의 공동 활용, 인적인 교류, 그리고 의회조사기구의 직원의 교육 등의 역할을 수행하려고 합니다. 조금 구체적으로 말씀드리면 오늘 우리가 불평등과 기후위기 대응에 대해서 논의를 했는데 이렇게 세미나에서 제기되고 발굴된 연구 주제에 대해서 그냥 세미나가 끝나면 이 연구 주제가 사라지는 것이 아니고 공동으로 연구를 하고 싶은 나라들의 기구들이 함께 모여서 공동의 연구 데이터를 활용해서 그 다음 해에 공동 보고서를 발간하고 이를 발표할 수 있는 그러한 사례도 나올 수 있을 것이라고 생각합니다. 특히 인적 교류 프로그램을 확대하고 소규모 의회 조사기구들에 대해서 지원을 할 수도 있을 것입니다. 다음으로 사무국 운영을 통해서 우리 국제 세미나의 운영 방식도 더욱 발전시킬 수 있을 것입니다. 당장 내년은 아니고 대체로 4, 5년 후의 일이라고 생각됩니다만 아마도 우리가 20회 정도 국제 세미나를 실시할 때쯤 되면 이제 의장국을 순환 방식으로 해서 의장국이 국제 세미나를 매년 순환해서 개최하는 방식도 생각해 볼 수 있을 것입니다. 또 지금은 세미나를 여는 기간이 하루 정도인데 이 세미나를 하는 기간도 이틀이나 3일로 확대할 수 있을 것입니다. 그렇게 해서 우리가 특별 세션 그리고 공동 연구 발표 세션 같은 것도 운영할 수 있으리라고 생각합니다. 또 협의체가 지역별 대표성을 확보할 수 있도록 하고 국제 세미나를 통해서 다양한 연구 주제를 새롭게 발굴하는 것도 필요합니다. 또 이 협의체가 의회조사기구들만의 모임이 아니라 다른 잘 알려진 국제기구 또 국제적인 연구기관과 함께 공동 연구를 하는 것도 추진해 볼 수 있을 것입니다. 네, 이상으로 의회조사기구 협의체 구성 방안에 대해서 설명을 드렸습니다. 모두 힘들고 지치셨을 텐데 발표를 드려주셔서 대단히 감사합니다. 이 내용에 대해서 질문이 있으면 의견을 주시기 바랍니다.
네, 박수 부탁드립니다. 네. 혹시 질문이 있으신 분은 손을 들어주시면 저희가 마이크를 건네드리겠습니다. 특별히 없으실까요?
혹시 뭐 이제 이 내용이 지금 막 여러분께 전달이 됐기 때문에 생각해 보실 시간도 필요하리라고 생각합니다. 오늘 바로 답을 주셔야 되는 것은 아니고 여러분들이 또 각 국의 조사기구에 돌아가셔서 또 여러 가지 협의를 해 보실 필요도 있을 것이라고 생각합니다. 그래서 오늘 제가 이렇게 발표드린 내용은 여러분께 이메일로 다시 모두 전달 드릴 것이고 또 궁금한 사항이 있으면 언제든지 저희에게 연락을 주셔도 됩니다. 혹시 오늘 제가 발표하신 내용에 대해서 궁금한 점이 있으면 이 자리에서 질문해 주시고 또 나중에 연락을 주셔도 되겠습니다.
Thank you, Mr. Lee Kwen-ho. Very interesting and your proposal. And in Russia I speak. Очень интересное предложение, и я думаю, мы согласны с этим предложением. У меня вот вопрос, как, то есть для участия в этом консультативном совете необходимо ли платить какие-то членские взносы? Вот.
Thank you for this interesting proposal. We agree with your proposal. And in order to take part in this consultative body, should we pay kind of membership fees or something like that? Thank you.
네, 질문을 같이 받고 답변드리겠습니다.
Parvez from Pakistan. Pakistan fully supports the idea of establishing a consultative body dedicated to enhancing cooperation among parliamentary research services. We believe that such a body can provide a stable framework for continuous dialogue and knowledge sharing, joint studies and cooperative research, capacity development, and promotion of evidence-based policy making. So it's a wonderful idea. We fully support that.
So thank you, Chief, for this brilliant idea. We am from India, so we'll take this matter with our authorities over there because, our research service, this will be a kind of international forum. So for this, our foreign affairs has to be involved, so we'll be taking recourse to them, we'll discuss the matter, and hopefully we'll be coming out with the ideas, and I'm fully in support of your framework that you are looking for. So thank you very much for floating this idea. Thank you.
네, 추가적인 질문이 지금 없으시면 답을 드리도록 하겠습니다. 파키스탄과 인도 대표단께서 지지를 보내주신 것에 대해서 대단히 감사를 드립니다. 저희의 고민은 저희가 매년 이렇게 14년째 올해로 그리고 내년이면 15년이 되는데 이런 국제 세미나를 계속해서 개최하고 있는데 우리들 간의 교류 협력 그리고 우정이 너무 우리가 들인 노력에 비해서 그 성과를 내는 것이 좀 아쉽지 않은가 하는 생각에서 이런 제안을 하게 되었고 이제 15년이나 되었기 때문에 내년에 또 내후년에 이 국제 세미나가 열리리라는 것이 모두의 기대라고 생각합니다. 사실 올해 불평등과 기후위기라는 이 주제를 선정하면서 참여하시는 다른 우리 참가국들의 관심이 어디에 있을까 하는 부분을 대단히 많이 고민했고 이러한 세미나 주제를 같이 협의할 수 있는 그런 상설 회원국들이 같이 있다면 미리 다음 연도 그 다음 연도의 주제들을 우리가 협의해서 정할 수 있지 않을까. 그렇다면 더 많은 국가들이 관심을 갖고 참여할 수 있지 않을까. 또 그 발표 내용에 대해서도 먼저 미리 준비해서 할 수 있다면 더 좋은 발표와 질문이 나올 수 있지 않을까 하는 그런 고민들이 있었습니다. 이제 우리 국제 세미나를 발전시키기 위해서 이러한 논의를 할 수 있는 그런 협의체를 구성해야겠다고 하는 생각이 들어서 제안을 드렸는데 지지를 보내주셔서 감사드리고 키르기스탄에서 주신 질문에 답하자면 이 협의체 운영에 대해서는 처음에는 가능하면 최대한 재정적인 부담 같은 것은 크게 들이지 않을 수 있도록 노력하겠다는 말씀을 드리고 특히나 재정적인 부분은 각국의 의회조사기구의 규모 또 각국 의회의 어떤 예산 이런 것들을 종합해서 오늘 여러분이 들으셨겠지만 100명이 넘는 리서치 인력이 있는 곳도 있고 또 아주 소규모의 그런 리서치 서비스도 있기 때문에 그런 부분들을 잘 감안해서 참여하는데 최대한 부담이 없도록 그렇게 협의체 운영을 초기에 해 나가겠다는 말씀을 드립니다. 네, 아마 이것은 제가 결정할 수 있는 것은 아니지만 더 많은 회원국들, 협의체 회원국들이 참여할 수 있도록 하려면 그런 부분에 대한 합의가 필요하지 않을까 생각합니다. 네.
혹시 다른 질문 있으실까요? 네, 없으시면 그럼 이상으로 특별 세션을 여기서 마치겠습니다. 의회조사기구 발전을 위한 저희 의견들이 여러분께도 좋은 울림으로 남을 수 있으면 좋겠습니다. 그러면 이제 세션을 끝내고 이제 밖으로 이동하셔서 국회 본회의장을 참관하시겠습니다. 본회의장 참관 후에는 국회 사랑제에서 조호영 국회 부의장님 주최의 만찬이 진행될 예정입니다. 이 회의장에는 다시 돌아오지 않을 것이기 때문에 참석자 여러분들께서는 개인 소지품을 챙기셨는지 꼭 확인하신 후에 이석하여 주시기 바랍니다. 그럼 이것으로 제14차 의회조사기구 국제세미나를 모두 마치도록 하겠습니다. 감사합니다.